Danful offers unparalleled, curated, and bespoke tours across Africa for travelers seeking genuine cultural experiences, enriched with magnificent sights, sounds, and flavors found on the continent. Each trip is reliably curated to ensure visitors are gifted with an immersive and authentic adventure. Whether you find yourself strolling along the charming white sand beaches of Sierra Leone, feasting on the mouth-watering delicious foods in Senegal, observing or partaking in various aspects of the Isheshe traditional system Ifa native to Yoruba land, Nigeria, with Danful, you will rediscover a fulfilling sense of kinship to the true heart of the motherland, her communities. Our core values focus on integrity, quality, safety, and sustainability. We are uniquely committed to assisting with the advancement of African infrastructure and promoting African businesses, so both travelers and the communities they visit receive beneficial exchanges. At Danful, we understand the importance of connectivity, and we have created a model which provides bespoke experiences based on your passions or hobbies. With us, expect a long-lasting spiritual bond between you and your destinations. Live, love, Danful, Africa. To learn more, visit danful.africa.
Peace, family. We are live again. Dynasty Mirror Search for Huru. Thank you all. Thanks so much for joining. Hit that like button, and please hit that like button. Also, make sure you share and make sure you subscribe. Guys, we are going to continue having these conversations in regards to identity, in regards to Black identity. I think they are important, and I actually enjoy these conversations. So today's topic, African American versus Black American. What's the real difference? To me, honestly, there is no difference. You could call me Black American. You can call me African American. But online, FBA is saying that they ain't no African American. So, we're going to discuss it, discuss the reasons. We'll have the conversation. But before we do, I need everybody who is watching this. Okay. I need everybody who is watching this right now. All right. I need you to go. Oops, what happened? What's that? Oh, there we go. Okay. I need you to go right now to search for Uhuru, documentary.search for Uhuru, and buy the documentary. Again, go to documentary.search for Uhuru and buy the documentary. Y'all, shout out to Didi Mende Dimples. Didi, I'm gonna ship your book out tomorrow. I'm gonna sign it, and you're gonna have that shipped out tomorrow. I leave next Saturday, so I'll make sure it gets shipped out tomorrow. And Didi Mende Dimples. Hopefully, I get to see you soon in November in Sierra Leone. But that is going to be shipped out. Your autograph book, it will be shipped out tomorrow. So I appreciate you. I appreciate the support. It really means a lot. And everybody, please go to documentary. Again, documentary. Search for Uhuru.com. All right. Go to documentary. Search for Uhuru.com and buy the documentary, y'all. Again, buy the documentary. I will greatly appreciate it. Everybody who's bought it so far, I want to thank you. If you're watching this, when you watch this, if you're watching this, please go and support the documentary. It's $10.99. No, it's not on Tubi or Amazon. I am bootstrapping this myself. It's on my own streaming site. And maybe soon I'll add I will add more content to this site. I mean, that was the plan. But right now, it's my documentary. You pay the 1099. It is yours for life. Again, you pay the 1099. It is yours forever. Forever. Like on a Sandlot. You just set up your login, you log in, and you can watch it on any device, anywhere you go, everywhere you're at. So please support and buy the documentary. I would greatly appreciate it. It really means a lot, you guys. It really does. You guys' support. I've been honing it down strong, live streaming for 10 years now. And I am not going anywhere. All right, I will be here. So with that being said, I need you guys to continue to support and buy the content. I really do. Really appreciate you guys. And shout out to D-Day Midday Dimples. Again, thank you for the support over the years. My beautiful midday sister. And again, hopefully, hopefully I will see you in um in Sierra Leone. So guys, do that. Also, we're rolling to Nigeria on Saturday. If you last minute you want to roll, come hit me up. We're also going to Zanzibar, Kenya in September, Ghana, Ivory Coast, and Sierra Leone in November. And then we're going to Benin Republic for the Voodoo Festival in January. If you're interested in joining, please visit Danfo.Africa. Again, if you're interested in joining, please visit Danfo.Africa to come and have some good old fun. Y'all come and have some good old fun. Without further ado, let me pull up this. Here we go.
Have this mindset or these ideas and these thoughts and these sentiments. Okay, it's literally people that are saying, I'm not African American, right? I'm Black American. That's how you know them putting this African American thing in their titles and their captions is deliberate. It's deliberate to say, I want to Africanize you, and I don't care what you're saying about yourself. I'm still gonna put this misnomer on you that you didn't even choose yourself. They don't go on to talk about things Pan-Africanists talk about. They go on to talk about things that foundational Black Americans talk about, that Solon people talk about, that all the people. You want to know how you know this African American thing is so on purpose, right? Because let's say the Pan-Africanists, right? I would say by and large, they don't have a problem with that misnomer, right? So it's not the Pan-Africanists that they're trying to hook in these titles, and they're saying have this mindset or these ideas and these thoughts and these sentiments. Okay, it's literally people that are saying, I'm not African American, right? I'm Black American. That's how you know them putting this African American thing in their titles and their captions is deliberate. It's deliberate to say, I want to Africanize you, and I don't care what you're saying about yourself. I'm still gonna put this misnomer on you that you didn't even choose yourself. They don't go on to talk about things Pan-Africanists talk about. They go on to talk about things that foundational Black Americans talk about, that Solon people talk about, that all the people. You want to know how you know this African American thing?
Guys, I don't mind being called either. You call me Black American, you call me African American. I'm not offended at all. As Peter Tosh said, if you are Black, you are African. So I have no issue being called either. Hey, bros, I'm a Black American from South Mississippi. Where in South Mississippi, sir? What city? And then also too, we're going to Kenya in September, and when we go to Kenya in September, we're going to be really there's a couple of days that's focused on relocation done the right way. Again, relocation done Gulfport. Okay, my family's from Yazoo City and Jackson and Terry. Well, really Yazoo and Terry, Mississippi. That's where my family's from. But per FBA, they call me a tether. They say I'm still a tether, even though my family's from Yazoo and in Terry, Mississippi. So yeah. So if you are black, you are African. So both are interchangeable, if you ask me. But for some reason, being African just ain't. I mean, being African, and I said this. All right, people are like, you know what? Everybody's gonna want to be African again after the Black Panther. I said no, they're not, because I saw this before with Coming to America. Now, Coming to America was a comedy. I get it. And you might say they're not the same. But even when Coming to America came out, I was a little kid and I remember that self. I remember that. I remember that specifically as a kid with Coming to America. Everybody was, back to being African. Then you had like X Clan, everybody was rocking the African medallions. I remember all that. And then slowly but surely, nobody would be African again. Then came Black Panther, everybody, Black Panther. Then you had Year of Return. And then, everybody was, Wakanda forever and being African. Even though it's a mythical place, people were still identifying and more with being African. And then what happened? Slowly but surely, here comes FBA, ADOS, Solon. We ain't no African. And then also the slow build up to we really the Native American Indians, and where the slave ships at. Egypt is the Nile River, is really the Mississippi River. All this other stuff. Oh yeah, they got a problem because he's British, right? Is the new Black Panther? In fact, let's pull that up real quick. Now, is David? Is he? I think he's Nigerian and Sierra Leonean as well. Yeah, he's a British actor. Oh boy, yeah, he's British. So you already know they're gonna have ADO FBA gonna want to boycott the film because the British actors are taking all the jobs. But Ryan Coogler is ADOS. He's FBA. Ryan Coogler's FBA.
If you do absolutely nothing, AI might take your job.
I want you guys to give a warm welcome to our new Black Panther, Mr. David Johnson. This young man.
I want to say thank you so much. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you to this amazing family that I have the honor and the privilege and the blessing to join. I actually don't want to say too much because I want to let this screen do the talking.
Oh, is there a trailer too? I'm saying, is there a well, no, they just announced the actor. There can't be a new trailer yet. But I think the movie's supposed to come out next year, right? Or 27 or 28. It comes out in 27 to 28. But yeah, but you can't. I mean, Ryan Coogler's the one who selected him. Coogler. Okay, what? So why is it Roland Martin FBA? Roland Martin was born in Louisiana and has a Haitian lineage. Does not make his lineage Southern roots, just like you. Are both his parents from Haiti? Why isn't Roland Martin not ADOS FBA? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Why isn't Roland Martin FBA or ADOS? What disqualifies him? Because of his Haitian lineage. So were both his parents Haitian immigrants? Is that what you're saying? Hey, get you. Me and Master doing well. All right, guys. Links in the chat room. If you want to call in and add to the conversation, you're more than welcome to call in and add to the conversation. Link is in the chat room. If you want to call in and chop it up, link is in the chat room. But yeah, once again, why isn't he not FBA or whatever? But guys, links in the chat room. If you want to call and add to the conversation, you're more than welcome to call and add to the convo. Let's see here. Go ahead, Castronova. You got to mute yourself.
All right, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
How you doing, Dynas?
Doing well.
All right. The topic, Black American versus African American. What's the difference? Yeah, I don't think it's a difference at all. I think it's synonymous.
Mm-hmm.
As of recently, you've had separatist groups who have tried to, well, they've attempted to make it different, but Black is African and African is Black. So, this goes to the continent as well. Anybody in Africa that isn't Black is not African. So you got a lot of Africans who consider Arabs, the people of North Africa, Africans, or Boers in Namibia or South Africa, consider them African. But they'll say that I'm not African because I'm African American or I'm Black American and I've never been to Africa. So I'm not an African, and Dricus du Plessis of South Africa is an African. I've had this told to me by Continentals that I'm a fake African. I just think it's lower level thinking. Just like white is synonymous with Europe, Black is synonymous with Africa. And that goes for the people of the Solomon Islands, the South Pacific, the Aboriginal Australians, and all of the other tribal people through that region who happen to be Black as well. That extends to them. That's all I got to say. I'll pass the mic.
Go ahead, Big Black.
Okay, yeah, we gotta cut that out a little bit. We always talk about what some say, as if there's like all of us are riders. All of us are not riders. You had Cameron just come out and say that I'm not African American, as if he's a good spokesman. He promoted selling crack to the hood for as long as his rap career. I mean, let's be real. As far as like the people that taught us, Black consciousness or African consciousness, those if those people were there, a lot of people, a lot of us that are Pan Africanists probably wouldn't even be Pan Africanists. We had people like John Henry Clark, you know, Amos Wilson, you know, Francis Cress Wilson, that had to, you know, where we had to read upon, and they straightened our lives out, where they took uh, those the slave mentality out of a lot of us. But at the same time, if we have to have people like that, right? They also have people like that, right? But there's some that still have, let's say, there's a similarity to the slave mentality, the colonized mentality, right? So they have writers and thinkers that get their people out of the colonized mentality. So I hate this idea that all African Americans were not coons. There's a lot of coons in the African American society. Even if you look up right now, you know, the music that a lot of the youth, you know, push up, it's destructive. It's destructive. We got to be real about that. So this whole, you know, you heard a couple of people on the internet say that we're not African. That's a colonized mindset. Sometimes you have to know this colonized mindset. That colonized mindset don't speak for everybody. Just like, you know what I'm saying, there's a slave mindset that says, oh, we're not African or we're Indian. You know what I mean? So we have to understand these mindsets do exist upon black people as a whole globally.
All right, go ahead, Africa.
Yeah, greetings, Brother Dinus, chat, and the panel. Please like, share, and subscribe, and support the channel. Yeah, I mean, as we were speaking yesterday, how the show ended. You have different type of black people. Okay, we have people who are proud to be Africans, and we have people who are proud to be identified as anything else other than being African. And that's fine. I mean, Europeans have a name for us. They have what they call people of color. They have, Afro descendants, which I think are mainly African people, African descent. So I think, it's up to African Americans in general how they want to identify themselves. I don't want to get involved in that too much because, you know, these are collective people who I think they're almost indigenous to the continent of America now, but are people of African descent, just like the Caribbeans. I should respect them and give them that space to actually decide that themselves. But I think, the way the world identify us as people, and how they see us. People see us as people of African descent. You know, um, so yeah, it's one of those things. We need to be proud of who we are. We came from greatness. For the last maybe over just over 400 years. We've been going through a lot of stuff, but it will come to an end one day. It's all about the mindset and being organized society again. And that's what we need to do. We need to be organized again. We've been so disorganized as people. You know, um, we are very destructive, for the last how many years, and it's exactly how it manifests online. I don't know who created this internet, but they're definitely not. They haven't taught us very well how to use it, especially people of color or people of African descent, because we have used it to divide ourselves. Furthermore, you have one group of people that are making sure about these South Africans. You have another people making sure about African Americans. You go another group who making stuff about the other tribe. You don't see that in hardly see that in any community other than Africans. Sometimes I think the lack of education within our community is actually here manifesting itself on the internet, where people are actually collecting data on us, actually, sourcing how to actually deal with us righteously, in the future. Because all these things that we're doing on the line is recorded. Some people are doing studies on it, you know. So I think a lot of us black people are very naive. We think we're funny, how we analyze things. We're very selfish. We're not, seeing things. We're not looking at the future. We're just looking at the now. And yeah, I did agree with you, Diana. The brother that, you know, um, who is going to be heading the Black Panther new movie. He's got Sierra Leone and Nigerian descent. Yeah, from the UK. And I don't know what would be the problem with the FBA if that's the case. As long as it's all about the movie, right? It's all about the narrative, not about the person. I pass it right here.
All right, go ahead. I beat your dread. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's by Dread. Um, big up to the panel. Big up to everyone on here. Um, I just like to say that it seems as if we kind of going off the divide and conquer Willie Lynch type mindset, where one individual is set against the other, and we just running with it instead of stopping, looking at the whole picture, analyzing and seeing where this mistake comes from. I've heard a lot of stuff against uh, Black Americans, against Africans, against Caribbeans, and it's kind of like if we only step back and look and see what's happening, realize that hey, together we stronger. If we look at our past and what our forefathers actually went through, realize it was that same divided mindset is what kind of got us here in this position in the first place. And instead of trying to correct that, we just kind of running with it and acting like puppies that were given scraps to fight over. Instead of thinking about when you were with your moms, y'all were playing together. Y'all were one family. Instead of realizing like that took your moms with the scrap, got you fighting, he the whole big stake over there, and you over here in the gutter, in the hood, in these rural countries, each other for nothing. And I feel like that's where our problem is. We need to step back and actually look at the picture and realize that hey, fighting each other don't help. And I'll pass the mic on that.
Go ahead. Haiti Reformation.
You hear me?
Yeah, we hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah, check this out, man. Um, I don't want feelings, but I'm just gonna be honest about this. Basically, Pan-Africanism. I used to be a hardcore Pan-Africanist, and I practiced it growing up as a kid. I was a hardcore Pan-Africanist. I was even in the Pan-African club in college. That's how hardcore of a Pan-Africanist I was. But what happened was we all got to do reality checks when it comes to Pan-Africanism and how much power it had and whether it had any results on the people. And I really didn't start looking at Pan-Africanism as being weak and not really accomplishing anything until I would say the AU rejected Haiti, the African Union rejected Haiti. That was the first thing that kind of threw me off. And then when I after Haiti's earthquake, there was no other really black nation that could really help Haiti when the stuff was going through. And then when I really started studying Pan-Africanism, and that's when I saw the flaw that Pan-Africanism, it's a wrap, it's over, it was dead. That's when I realized it was dead because when I really, really looked into it, I saw that, to be honest with you, I saw that ever since the Berlin Conference, um, Africa has been relegated as a resource colony for Europe while it industrialized. And then when I looked at the independence movements, and I realized all of these nations, they got fake independence. All the nations that got independence during the independence movements, they got fake independence. And then I spoke about it before with what happened with Kwame Nkrumah, and when they were forming, everybody knows what Kwame Nkrumah really wanted to do, and one group didn't, Casablanca, whatever, didn't want it, one group didn't, the group that didn't want it, and then that failed, and then we got this bull crap. So what I noticed is that Pan-Africanism, it's also been under attack by the Western intelligence agencies, and they make sure it ain't coming to fruition. So it was weak. Now, when you talk about SBA and Black Americans, the reason at first that movement I'm going to be honest with you. That movement started basically off of knowledge of like the indigenous knowledge of like, because there's a lot of stuff they had about history, about like the Phoenicians who were coming here centuries back in the day. They lie about a lot of stuff and how they found black people here or whatever when they came. So basically, the FBA started off like that, like, yo, and then when you look at the Homestead Acts, what Martin Luther King said, when all those white Europeans were coming from Europe doing the Homestead Acts, it was the indigenous population that was showing them how to plant, use the stuff, giving them land, and they never got repaid for that. And like Malcolm MLK said, we find ourselves exiled on our own land. But now, when the indigenous movement started, it was picking steam. It was it's like forbidden history. Now, once it got picked up,
sir, I'm asking you a question, sir. Do you think you're a Native American Indian? Do you think you're indigenous to this land?
Excuse me?
Do you believe that
Say
you
that
are
again?
indigenous to the, or do you believe that you are indigenous to this land?
Yeah, there were black people indigenous to the Americas before the arrival
I'm asking,
of the Europeans.
do you believe you're indigenous to this land?
Yes, I do, because the reason I say that is because of the indigenous army of Haiti. Because when you look at, okay, I know this, I don't want to offend a lot of people. I'm just going to keep it simple. When they were coming up with the name for the indigenous army of Haiti, they made sure to include it in the name to make sure that people know that there were indigenous people to the Americas. When you look at the term indigenous, it really means black. It's black. The original indigenous people are black or aboriginal.
That's not true. That's
Sir,
not true.
where can I find that the word indigenous means black?
Well, they try to act like the indigenous people to the Americas are the Mexicans, right? They try to act like the Spanish people, the Mexicans, or the indigenous people of the Americas, right?
No. They've never said the Mexicans are indigenous people. Now you have Aztecs, you have Incas, of former Olmecs who are indigenous, but Mexicans, they never said that. Mexicans are a mix.
Well, Mexicans claim Olmecs. Mexicans claim Olmecs, and then when you bring up the fact that the Olmecs were black, Mexicans deny that. They say the Olmecs would look like them. Mexicans don't say the Olmecs were black. Mexicans claim it. Mexicans claim Olmec, they claim all that stuff for them. Even the Mayans. You say the Mayans were black. Sorry, the Mayans were a black civilization. And they
most of the
developed out of the Olmec.
population were actually Mexican. They were actually Native Americans and not.
So when you say they're black, what do you mean?
Listen,
you mean
the
they're black
Olmec
African
heads,
or black?
the Olmec
black?
heads are indeed
Okay.
African, but that does
I'm gonna say something. Okay. Let's clear this up. Okay, let me clear this up.
That the labor that was
Okay, I'm
used
gonna
was
clear this up.
African.
Let me just say something.
Let him finish, yeah.
The science.
Okay. Can I just say my point? You guys could talk after me. Okay, let me just make this point. We're gonna go to 1492 and Christopher Columbus when he first came over here, and the Europeans sent him over here. Christopher Columbus, the first place he landed was in Haiti, and he claimed the land under the doctrine of discovery. He claimed Haitian land for the church, for the Catholic Church, right? Now, when you really look into it.
So Haiti. Why did he call them Indians?
He wrote in his diary that he found black people.
No,
why
did he call them Indians?
Yeah, because the original Tainos, they
were very clear on why they called them Indians. Why do they call them Indians?
Christopher Columbus, I don't know why he referred to them in his diary, but he specifically said that he found black people in Haiti. And also, you have to remember.
You're not answering the question. Why this is well documented? Why did Christopher Columbus? Why do they call them Indians?
They say that Christopher Columbus caught him, thought he was going.
Right. So he thought he saw Indians in India. He thought he was in India. Not you, not no Africans. He thought he saw Indians.
Oh goodness.
They were
So
very.
indigenous, like I don't get the indigenous term because
I do.
a
I
lot of people out
understand
here.
the indigenous
No,
term.
no,
I do.
no. When I say that, follow me with this. We a lot. I would say most people on here have some kind of Christian beliefs or something. At least believe in that Adam Eve aspect. So that means
No.
it's one set of people starting from a one set of area, or if not that, at least
Well,
Africa
I gotta pass the mic. Go ahead, Connor.
Cana.
And I'm gonna give it up.
It's Cana.
Go, Cana.
And so I'm 61. Let's start it out like that. I'm 61. Grandparents were born in 1910. Did my DNA with Ancestry, 94% African. Did my ancestry with African ancestry. They gave me a tribe in Gabon. So out of all of that, I grew up Black American. Ain't nobody, my grandparents, they came deep out of Georgia, Tennessee. Ain't nobody talk about nothing African, nothing Indian. It was Black American. We was deep in Black America. Cultivating this culture, refining it. So I don't know about the indigenous, all that OMEG stuff. And hopefully I'm on topic with what we're talking about.
You are.
Yeah. And I don't know about all of that. I understand it. More information is to come out, so I'm not going to fight over that. I'm not going to be in the woods with no feathers running around. I've been to Africa. Hey, they could do their thing. We do our thing. Like I said, I grew up Black American, Negro. So that's what I'm going to be, a Black American. Been to Africa, been halfway around the world, was in the military, all that good stuff. Been a grown man since Ronald Reagan was president. It's Black American. I don't know why we going through all these gymnastics. It's about how we coming together, now how we've come to be a group here on this land. I mean, I was very much so grown when the African American term came into play. It was kind of half and half received. We did get into the medallions, the African, rap, and bringing all of that awareness into the culture. But all in all, it was when I came out of elementary, we had real history books. Them bad boys came out the cuff, like showing us getting beat by white people enslaved with pictures. And at that point right there, it was us against them. And if you didn't take that side, I don't know what side you was taking. I wasn't looking to be in I'm a city dweller. So I wasn't looking to be in no fields. I went down south with my people. We kicked it like that in the summertime. But still down there, deep Alabama, deep Georgia, wasn't nobody running around no feathers back then. We was Black Americans. This was in the 70s. Probably most of y'all wasn't even born back then. So wasn't nobody thinking about indigenous. We was thinking about being Black. It was Marvin Gaye. You know what I'm saying? Soul music, R&B. That's how we was kicking it. So what's the other stuff about African American is Black? I don't get it. Go ahead. I'm gonna give up the floor.
The term African American been around since it was around before.
And I can rock with Richard Allen, how they did that to AME. That was commendable. I could dig that, but still, even with the AME, and I grew up in the church, it was AME. It wasn't African. I barely knew it was African.
Sorry, what is the A? What does the A in AME stand for?
African.
Okay, so what you mean it wasn't African?
No, I'm saying it wasn't acknowledged. It was like AME.
What you mean it wasn't acknowledged? What's the A stand for?
It's in the acronym.
The acronym was paramount. African wasn't stressed. Come on, yes, that's right.
Why you
African wasn't stressed in AME.
If you didn't go to the church, and if you didn't go to the church and you didn't know the African Methodist Episcopal or whatever it was, you would just see the sign say AME. But I
AME.
think on the churches, it would say African Methodist Episcopal on the thing.
Yeah, I understand. We affiliated with them, but we didn't. Nobody did anything with Africa though. Even if it
Yeah,
was
but at least
African
it was
Methodist,
just a name,
what
no?
Africa did they practice in AME?
I mean, if it was nothing
What
but just
Africa
a
did they
name.
practice in AME?
We don't have African culture,
Yeah,
only
but I'm just
African
Thank
ethnically.
you.
saying the
Okay.
name, it
We are
was like,
Africans ethnically,
wasn't
but
that
not
curious
culturally.
to you?
Okay. Okay. I dig it. For
All right,
But
let
sure.
me
my
get.
thing is,
I got to pass the mic. Go ahead,
I
Seattle
mean, if
Sankofa.
you look at how you celebrate in church
I
now,
got.
like
I'm
that
passing
is
the mic.
Africa.
I'm
I don't
passing the
got a
mic.
lot of
Seattle
time, so
Sankofa.
I won't be long.
Go ahead.
I'm on the clock. My personal opinion is two things can be true at once. We are African ethnically, and we are of African descent. But being in America for 300-400 years, we also have European DNA, and some of us also. Can I finish, please? Thank you. I don't have a lot of time, and then you guys can run the mic. Also, some of us do have Native American DNA. Some of us, not all of us. Some of us have a lot of European DNA. Some of us have Native American DNA, but we're predominantly West African. We are. That's just the facts of the matter. My opinion is that in order to be
What is that?
calling yourself, hold on, I'm almost done. In order to just identify ourselves as African, we need to speak. This is my personal opinion. I could be wrong. We need to speak an African language, be more in tune into their culture, kind of how Dynas has done.
Cap,
But if you don't speak an African language,
cap,
we don't eat their food, we don't go over there, we
cap.
don't have nothing culturally that's African. Nationality wise, our nationality
Seattle
is definitely.
Sankofa. What's jambalaya? What's okra soup?
I don't know about none of that, brother. I don't know
What's
about none of that.
gumbo? Gumbo
Can I
literally
Exactly.
is
finish? I'm
African
almost
dish.
done. Can I just
Like,
finish and you can run the mic?
but you over there just spewing rubbish, bro.
I'm talking. But Sam, you said we don't eat none of their foods. I'm saying, what's jambalaya? What's okra soup? What's gumbo? What's red
They
I could
food
rice?
be
is
wrong.
our food.
I could be wrong. I'm almost
Yeah,
done.
that has our own little flavor to it. I don't, yeah, that's our own
Secondly,
little
this is my
flavor.
last point. This is my last point, and then you guys can run the
Everybody
mic.
has a stew.
I just want to make a last point, please, and you guys can run the mic. My last point is that as far as our nationality, it's American. Nobody can deny that. We have American passports, American IDs in our pockets. We got American birth certificates. That's our nationality. Ethnically, yes, we do have African ethnicity. Some of us, and some are larger than others. Some is a larger percentage African than
All of
others.
us have
We
African
have
ethnicity. What
African
are you talking
DNA.
about?
Stop with these semantics and words.
Yeah, I got a
Guys,
question for Dinus real quick.
Said that.
let him finish. Don't interrupt him. Don't interrupt him.
Why?
Go
I
ahead.
don't know why as grown men we interrupt each other, acting like kids. I was short amount of time. I don't need a whole lot of time. All I'm saying is that as an African American, Black American, yes, we have African ethnicity. Yes, we come from an African descent. Our ancestors come from there, but we also, in the same breath, have European ancestors from slavery that interrupted our bloodline that are in there. I have great great great
Nobody's
grandparents that
proud
are.
of that. Nobody's proud of
So,
that.
It
so
don't
we
matter
got
about
a
what you're proud of.
potato
It don't
stew is
matter
part of
about
our
what you're proud
culture.
of.
So it's
It
no
don't
point.
matter about what you're
It's no
proud
point of
of. That's
referencing it.
oh
I got
my
a
God.
question.
You
I got a
guys have
question.
no
Guys,
self-control.
let him finish. Let him finish. Go ahead, Seattle Sankofa.
I'm about to be done because I got to get back. But what I'm saying is it's not about what you're proud of or what you want to accept or what you want to deny. The simple fact of the matter is if you do DNA tests, you're gonna see often some of us gonna have European ancestors. You're gonna have that. You
I
White
got,
can't
people have
I
go
got
some
around
white
that.
people have
4%.
African ancestry. What does that mean?
He keep repeating the same thing. Nobody's denying that.
Guys, let him
Oh,
finish.
okay.
Okay, here we go. If you
I'm
interrupt him
done.
again, he gets an extra minute. All right.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah, brother. I'm just saying, like, we overcomplicate it. We do have African ethnicity, yes, but we had an ethnogenesis while being in America. So some of us are gonna be mixed with European, some of us gonna also be mixed with Native American, but we are predominantly West African. I don't know why you guys want to beat me up just because I'm saying that. That's the facts of the matter of the history. If you do a DNA test, you're gonna have some European ancestry, whether it's 5%, 10%, like me, 15 to 25%, depending on the test. But that's just the facts of the matter. Even Dynas knows he probably, if he did the test, he probably has a little bit of European DNA. Probably not a lot, but it's probably
No,
in
no,
there.
no, 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 no. I acknowledge that. Yeah, I acknowledge
So
that.
I don't know why we try to get around that. That's a part of being a Black American is you come from that experience of an ethnogenesis, meaning you have a mixed bloodline. We're not 100% pure Africans. My wife in Tanzania did DNA test on her. She's 100% African, no European DNA. Every African American that I tested in my family around here, they all got European in their DNA. Any friend of mine that I gifted a kid to, they all have European DNA. I ain't never tested an African Black American that had zero European DNA. That's it. Just
And
haven't.
how much Indian did you
Wait, so
find?
you test
Most
people? You test people?
He
I
gifted
give
him a
out
kid.
kits. I give out kits all the time for Christmas, birthdays. That's one of my hobbies is ancestry DNA. I love building family trees. I help people build their family trees. That's my hobby. So
Cap.
yes, I give them out.
What's the percentage of
This is
Indian?
a Tariq supporter, man. He using his vernacular
No,
with
no, no.
ethnogenesis
But I never.
stuff,
But
man.
he's never claimed to be a
So
Native
so
American Indian though. So
I never have I
yeah, yeah,
ever.
yeah.
I'm
Right.
predominantly West African, 78% West African with 15 to 25% European ancestry.
Most of us have European and Native American ancestry.
I
I don't
I
deny that.
nor anybody, I nor anybody in
I
my
don't know.
family that I've tested have Native American ancestry. Nobody I've ever tested in
But
my
yeah,
family. I'm
yeah,
not
yeah. No,
speaking
I
for
do.
others.
Well, I do.
which
I'm not speaking for you. I'm just speaking for
Kasha,
my family.
what's your percentage, Kasha?
My percentage of Native American DNA is a little bit higher. It's 15% because my
But
grandmother
what test did you take?
African ancestry.
You can't, you
African
don't even, first of all,
ancestry.
that's a lie.
That's
African ancestry does
well,
not,
hold on,
African
stop. Hold on,
ancestry
I'm
only
not
I'm
gives
talking
you a
lying.
tribe.
Seattle. I'm talking Seattle. I'm talking. You didn't take African ancestry, Kasha.
I did take African
Okay,
ancestry.
they give you your tribe, Kasha.
Thank you, Dynas. That's a key lying.
Okay, I may have
Kasha,
not
you
taken
capping,
African.
Kasha. Kasha, you capping.
They only lead you,
They give
African
you a tribe.
ancestry only leads you to a specific tribe. They trace
Tribe.
your Y chromosome and
No,
they
okay.
trace
So which
your X
site is it where
chromosome.
you put in
Well, you
your
can't, Kasha. You tell us, Kasha. You said African ancestry. You wrong. I can tell you
It's
right
If
now.
one
you
of
You wrong
these
can't
about
pull it
that.
up
websites.
on the screen, then I'm going to think you're lying for sure.
It's one of these websites. It may have not been
Oh, Cash, you
African.
don't even know, man. Oh, come on, Cash.
Facebook
Oh,
website.
man.
Jeez
I'm
Louise.
not
Cash,
capping though.
come on, man.
I ain't
Cash, come
capping.
on, man.
My
Cash,
grandma is my
That's
grandma
come
terrible.
is
on, man.
15%
Terrible.
Dynas,
chicken
one thing I
side
Talking
Native
suggest,
about.
American.
Dynas, one thing I
Okay, wait.
suggest you
New
do,
speaker.
Well,
New
God, hold
speaker.
Can
on.
I
Guys,
speak
Dynas,
though?
somebody
Dynas,
asked me a
Cause y'all
question.
ain't
Go
gonna
ahead.
tell me my
Dynas,
makeup.
Cash, you can't
Dynas,
Cash. Chill
one
out. Go ahead.
thing,
Go ahead.
hold on one second. Dynas, one thing I think you should do is have for people who have actually done the work, submitted, done the kits, that you should have an ancestry show and case DNA type of party where we can
I'm
bring
gonna
from,
pull
because
my. You know what? I'll pull mine up right now. I'm gonna pull up mine right now. Ancestry.
I've done 23andMe, I've done Ancestry.com, I've done African Ancestry. African
Mm-hmm.
Ancestry only leads you to a specific tribe, but if you do Ancestry.com right there and
Hold on, I'll
23andMe,
put mine up right there. DNA, your result summary. I was only at 1% Indian. It was like 1%. Cash about he 15%. He
well, you're
Cash that's
more of a
cap.
Native American than any of these other cats that
Okay,
I
can't
so
give
did
us
say
this
in fact, I can't even say that. It just says Yucatan. Well, indigenous
And the
American,
tests have been
Yucatan
shown
Peninsula.
when African Americans have Native American DNA, it's typically between 1%
Yeah,
and 8% at top. Some of them have
if
more
even
because they have more
8%.
of a direct parent that's Native American. But
so if I can post my results on here,
Hold on,
if
Seattle.
I can post my results on here and prove both of you brothers wrong,
Cash to pull up
what will y'all
your
give me?
results.
Will y'all give me some kind of light on the channel?
We will
just
give you
do
a.
it. Just do it.
What
Just
What
you
do you
do
do
it,
mean
it.
just
Cash?
do it? No, because y'all making me look stupid. I want to make y'all
No,
look
you're
stupid
making
with my
yourself look
results.
Hold on.
stupid.
Cash,
You're making yourself look stupid
I'm
by
not
saying
making
stuff with
myself
no
look
facts.
stupid. I know. Listen. I know
Pull it up and show
ancestry,
it.
brother. What's up?
Pull it up,
I
Cash.
know my ancestry, brother.
Cash, show your
Now, I
paperwork,
may
Cash.
have
Pull it
not
up
been
and
accurate
Show your
with the
paperwork,
site that I
Cash.
went on
Cash, show
to
your
look
Yeah,
my
because
paperwork, Cash.
ancestry
African
up.
ancestry don't give you
Cash,
that.
show your
Okay,
paperwork,
now I may
Cash.
have not been accurate with that. It's like 7 of them sites. A lot of
Cash
them
to
done closed down now.
pull your paperwork up, Cash.
However, I know my African. I know my African DNA. I know my European DNA,
Cash to
and I
pull up
know my
your
Native
paperwork,
American
Cash.
DNA.
It's hard for us
Pull
to
up your
believe you,
paperwork,
brother, with
Cash.
no source of proof. You see how Dynas just showed up the source of proof? That's
That's
how we
okay.
believe you.
That's
If
okay.
you
But
don't got nothing to show, we can't believe you. We can't just go off of what you say.
yeah, that's fine with me. Dynas is completely different. His people not from where my people from.
Oh
Dinus, how
Lord,
much
Cash.
European
Oh
ancestry you
Lord.
had, Dinus? How
Oh,
much European
Cash.
ancestry you had, Dinus?
Mine
Because I
was
see
like
your
12. Well,
European,
it's
I see
right.
it
Mine
lighting
is.
up on the map. I can see the map, and I can see
Let me answer the
European
question.
DNA over there.
Seattle, let me answer the question.
Ah,
I have. It's like.
That does
It's
not
like.
mean you're not
Yeah.
African.
I'm
one
talking.
mic.
Nobody said
Stop
that. Nobody
interrupting
said
me.
that.
That's
Nobody
what
made
Why are
you're
that
you guys
alluding
argument.
to,
interrupting
though.
me? Why are you
No,
guys interrupting me?
You're
Why are
not
you interrupting
leveraging
me?
the fact
Why
that
are
we
you're
you
not
have
interrupting me?
listening
European
now.
Why are
DNA
you
in
You need
us.
to
interrupting
We
mute
me?
went
him,
through
Why are
it.
Dinus.
you
You need to
guys
mute him.
interrupting me? Why are you guys still talking? Why are you still talking? Stop interrupting me. Goodness. My European ancestry is, I think it was like 12%. Let's see here. 3, 6, 8, 10, 11, 12. It's 12%.
Mm.
But Casher, you gotta show your paperwork, fam. The minute you said 50%, I knew you was on
It looked
something.
like he got at least 8 to 10%. I can't really tell. It's so small, but
Dinus, you got
I
Welsh in it.
told you. I said 12%. It's 12%.
Dinus got Welsh as
3%,
well.
2%.
Oh.
That's about 8%. Another two,
Can you
about
say something about
10%.
FBA real quick?
About
I don't think
11%, brother. It's
I
about
gotta mute. I don't think you can hear me. I said 12%. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but they just keep
Yeah.
I
cutting
said
you
I
off.
don't think you can hear me. I said 12%. I don't think you can hear me. Yeah, I don't
So
think he
does
can
that
hear me.
make Dynasty European?
No, you can't hear me. He
No,
can't
that
hear me.
does
Yeah, I
not
think
make
you need
him a
to mute him.
European.
Seattle, can
Dynas
you
is
hear
still
me?
an
Seattle, I
African.
don't think Seattle can hear me.
He
Seattle,
got
I'm gonna prove you
Neanderthal
back.
DNA. He got that Neanderthal DNA.
Yeah, I got 12% of it. Hey.
Neanderthals come from Africa, contrary to popular belief.
Yeah,
But hey,
everybody
but
knows.
hold
Caucasian.
on, but guys,
Nah,
I'm talking.
Caucasians got Neanderthal
I'm
DNA.
talking. Why are you talking
Okay,
over me?
I understand that.
Why
I
are you
also
talking
have
over me?
Neanderthal.
Well, I'm gonna start removing you guys. Guys, stop talking over me. Goodness, Cashman. Next time you come back in, come with your paperwork. Talking about some 15%. I knew that was some BS. Talking about some 50%. Then you gonna say I ain't from where he from. All right, Cashman. Next time you come in, and you guys stop talking over me. It's annoying as hell. Next time, Casher, come back. You got to bring your paperwork, Casher. Don't come back here without your paperwork. Talk about some 15% African ancestry. Oh man, go ahead, M.
About
All
FBA.
right.
Nah, man, it ain't your turn. It ain't your turn. Go ahead, M.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Thank you, sir. I want to start off with a little bit of pushback. I heard somebody say something about gumbo, akra soup, or jambalaya has something to do with Africa. What about neck bones? You know, our ancient sacred cuisines ain't to be played with. This is some of my grandmother's
Neck
great grandmother
bones.
brought down.
Neck bones.
Right. You know, what about neck
Add
bones? You
that
don't
to
know
the
nothing about
stew,
that.
bro.
You don't know nothing about that.
Neck
Like our
bones.
Yeah.
cuisine has nothing to do with Africa. We don't know what Africa done stole from Liberia since the 1830s that we brought over there that
Hold on.
that they
Elvis,
run it with. You
hold
know.
on. 1 second. Hold on. Elvis, you can go next, Elvis. Hold on, Elvis. Chill out, Elvis.
Oh, I
Chill out.
heard your comments, Elvis. I heard what you had to say, but forget that. Also, I wanted to mention the images you have in this description is kind of disingenuous because both of those aesthetics are I was going to say African American, but that's my next point. I would say African American. Those are African American aesthetics. The fade, the line, and the whole
Hold on.
swag. That ain't
They
from
don't get
Africa.
linings and fades.
After they was
Yeah,
introduced to
after they
us, of
copied out
course.
us.
After they done
Bro.
saw, the Keenan Ivory Wayne show. After they done saw Boomerang
Hold on.
or
Hold on. Stop.
How to
I'm gonna
Be a
pull up.
Player,
Hold on. Hold
Bill
on.
Bellamy,
I'm talking.
you know.
I'm
Go ahead.
talking. I'm gonna pull up a picture of Keenan Iron Ray. Please show me his goddamn edge up. Hold on.
I'm talking about his brothers.
Please show me his damn edge up. Hold on. Let me pull up his. Let me pull
He
him.
bald. He bald. I'll just mention in living color.
I'm talking about even when he had hair. Okay, hold on.
It was an afro.
Hold on. Show me his edge up.
Man, you being disingenuous. I
He
said
said you
when he
brought him
saw
up.
the
Please
Wayne's
show me
brothers.
his edge up.
Better yet, forget him.
Show me he
Arsenio
brought him
Hall.
up. Show me his
That's a
edge up.
Nigerian headline, Dennis.
Wesley
Oh,
Snipes.
Wesley
Arsenio
Snipes.
Hall.
Oh Lord. Okay.
Eddie Murphy. People like that had popularized that aesthetic, in the
right.
90s.
That was the early
Eddie
80s
Murphy?
look.
because we had the Jerry curl, we had the fro. We even before that, when we had in the 30s when Eddie Murphy brought out Harlem Nights, they were swagged up and tapered up like that with the razor blade. But I think that aesthetic is not truly. You wouldn't think African when you see those two pictures. You'll probably see a New York guy, Atlanta, Chicago. You might think of different regions of America when you see those two aesthetics. I remember the finger waves. Remember the finger waves?
That was in the 40s.
Still on the
Okay.
I mean, we had finger waves in the 90s. We had finger waves, the butters in the 90s.
M. Show me Eddie. This is Eddie Murphy from Beverly Hills Cop. Where? Show me the edge up.
Go to Boomerang.
Man. Oh man,
go to Boomerang.
On, man. Y'all need to
go to the 90s look, the old 90s look. But forget that.
Right, that's when we started cutting it up. Nice.
Steve Harvey had the cleanest lineup in the 90s, and he had a man wig on, bro.
I mean, regardless of that, that was the style of the 90s. The ball fade, the lining, the high top fade, the Gumby with Bobby Brown. I'm talking about, forget that. That aesthetic ain't really, you wouldn't think about it after you would think about American either way. But as far as African American go, I think always thought it as two continents connected, like one person on this side is American and this side of African, and they somehow mixed together. That's what I always thought Jesse Jackson meant when he said African American, because neither person, nobody in Africa actually is an African except a South African. Well, I think he just combined two continents together. And he basically gave us, like, we instead of just being of one continent, we have two whole continents. You know, that's basically what I got from it. But I wanted to touch on some of the things in the show, though, you know, besides the pushback and besides that. I listened to Osei Duke Jackson. He just had an interview with this dude named Austin Holloman. Do anybody know about this dude?
Yeah, I know Austin. I know
he's like a passport bro. And he kind of summarized Africa in one sentence. He said what Africa is like, they mastered the art of getting everything they can out of you and giving you nothing. That's what he basically summarized Africa as. And I think maybe that's the essence of what they are. Like, I wouldn't call it a parasite, but that is almost like the definition of a parasite. They take everything from you and give you nothing. And you look at how they come in and end up with all of our institutions, all of our HBCUs, our banks, and then we ended up our community shriveling up, our families getting low. It's not like we're actually benefiting from them succeeding off of us, you know. We just look up and Africans just flourishing and growing with all of our wealth, and we just dying like they just sucking our blood. But
my God! Where's my violin? Somebody grab my violin.
But that was his synopsis of Africa when he started off with Duke Jackson. He said he done with Africa. He said he actually was able to verify over 300 people he brought to Africa from America and influence the economy. Not to mention all of the people that just probably watch him on the internet and then end up getting inspired. And Africa gave him nothing for that. They running shows on New Year's, and all they offered him was a hotel ticket after they made thousands of dollars off of his impact and his influence, his clientele.
You should have learned from Dinah.
I'm talking. The term is you get what you negotiate. That's what the term is. Whose fault is that?
But he said he done. He in Asia now.
Okay, good for him. He could be in Asia. What they gonna give him in Asia?
He said he got his mind clear. He able to think and he able to record. Okay. He said when he over there recording,
his mind
they won't let him record anywhere.
His mind is clear. Okay,
they probably offer him more like we have so many people over there. We ain't got no. They ain't offered us no land. They offered us nothing. Like go. I heard about Elvis talking about. He wanted to talk about. I heard you talking about that yesterday.
Pass the mic, bro. I'll get to it.
Go ahead, Elvis.
All right. Thank you, Dinus. And it's the 179th Independence Day for Liberia today. You know, started in 1847. So happy Independence Day to Africa's first republic. Look, when people say they're 10% European or even 15%, they're trying to claim that. Come on, brother. Can you go to Finland with your 20% European and blending with them?
We can't go
You
to
know.
Africa and claim it.
Yes, you can. Yes, you absolutely can. Dinah's got
Yes, you
10%
can.
European. He going to Africa and claimed it, and he's accepted in Africa.
Yeah, that's
If I,
after you invest a little bit of time and effort. You
oh
could do
my
that
gosh,
in,
bro!
in
Based
Europe.
on his
So you can claim
phenotype,
it.
based on the way he looked, he went to Africa and got his, and got in with the people there. So come on, you guys are trying to claim something that's not trying to claim you, bro. You got 10%. You can even be 50% European, bro. Once you got that curly hair and not that long straight hair, they're not claiming you, bro. They're not claiming you. So the point here is having a little bit of European DNA does not make you European. You know, and I hate to use the word mulatto person in Africa is not a white person. They go to Europe, they go to anywhere, they'll be looked at as a mixed person at best and a black person at worst. So I don't get it. But the
One
point
dot.
I'm trying to
Sorry,
the
Elvis.
point
One dot policy. One dot policy.
they
We
got
have
that
it
too
in the
in the UK
in
and
England.
Europe. Oh
Yeah,
wow.
one dot policy. Yeah,
But when people talk about
1%
neck
black.
bones, I heard M talking about neck bones. Bro, do you know that? And again, no disrespect to those folks. A lot of those things were the leftover parts of the pig and the hogs and the
Yeah,
other animals that the white man didn't want to eat. So
yeah.
black people just kind of jumbled it up together in their pot and they started making it. They had
We know
a
that. We
liking
know
over
that.
time. Right. So when people start bragging about neck bones, Africans were eating neck
Stop it,
bones, man.
man. Don't mess with our survival, bro. Don't do that.
No, what am
Don't
I
do that.
saying? I'm saying when you
That
say
kept us alive to
right,
be
I
here
get it, but
today.
it doesn't mean that you're not
We know what it
African.
was about. We know
Right.
what it was about.
I don't know if M knows what it was about because Africa, we eat meat. We get some people eat the bush meat that can hunt. Others nowadays they eat regular meat, chicken, cow meat, whatever. But to say that certain dishes didn't,
By choice.
were not
Y'all ate
influenced.
that by choice. We ate that for survival.
No,
So
I
you
hear you,
can't knock
bro. I'm
that,
not. I'm
Holmes.
not dissing it. I'm just saying when he say
Mm.
that is dispositive that you're not African, because you eat neck bones and Africans don't quote unquote eat neck bones. It's not even true because we eat gizzards, we eat all kinds of stuff in Liberia because
Okay.
the American Liberians brought it there. But my point here is that like Dinus was
Oh.
rightfully making a point. A lot of your staples, like jambalaya and other things, are influenced by African dishes. So
That
how
was
can
a
you
slick
say
little diss, bro.
what's up?
That was a slick little diss.
That's
Why? What are
blasphemy.
you talking about? I'm saying, am I speaking? Am I saying something wrong?
That's
No,
And
go ahead,
blasphemy.
man.
and lastly, before I hand the mic over, right to M, I'll get back to the point, right? I'm less so in the mood than I was yesterday, but bro, when you say
Elvis is
we,
Liberian Independent Day. Don't bring that up,
it's
please.
our Independence Day.
Don't bring that up. Yeah, don't bring that up.
When he
I'm
say
begging you, leave it. Leave it.
we, I might be mistaking him for a French person.
It's not the
You
right
got
day, bro. Leave it. Leave it.
okay, man. You got me. I'll leave it. I'll pass the
Okay.
mic,
Okay.
Dennis. I'm not gonna go, man.
Thank you.
I'll leave it.
Thank you.
Hey, Dinus, actually, I remember some of the things I wanted to say if I could.
But no,
No,
sir, I'm the speaker.
I got to pass the mic. Go ahead, singlist models.
Okay,
Go
that's
ahead,
Shaw. It's Shaw.
Shaw. Go ahead, Shaw.
You guys, let me just say, well, as far as food's concerned, I think that African Americans going to Liberia didn't really introduce too much new stuff, especially when it comes to organs and skin. And like, I don't eat cow skin, but I had a friend brought some egusi over here. It had cow skin in it, and I liked it. But I knew what it was. 10, 15 years ago, I wouldn't have eaten it. But they eat organs and stomach and, all kind of shit be in the whatever the stew in Africa. So some of the things we think was because that's all we had is true, but also it was what we were doing in Africa. We was doing stomach and tripe. They call it tripe. We was doing all that shit. As far as the chitlins is concerned, I don't know. That might be something new. I don't know. But the ideal of eating organs and innards and gizzards and all this stuff is stuff that they were doing before we got here, and then when we got here. And as far as whites, see, there's a difference between social behavior and genetics. You got to make a different distinguish between the two. You say we've got European in us. I mean that's genetically, but socially speaking, we really have to go back and forth between two cultures. Really, our culture here, in our genesis here in this country, it's still a unique culture that is an African American culture. And then going into the white world, we have to switch up and practice another culture, another language in order to deal with them. And so that's why I'm saying that when we talk about, well, we've got white blood in us and all of this stuff, it's more of a genetic thing. And phenotypically speaking, which is what I have the issue with the Indian thing, because why is it, phenotypically speaking, that you have these Asiatic looking Native Americans that have the same name as the so-called Black Indians? Well, why now on the reservations you got? And then it was explained to me that those are the $2 Indians. I was like, clearly there's a difference between European phenotype and Native American, or so-called Asiatic looking phenotypes. These people that are in these reservations that are holding these names that exist today don't look like the Black Indians to me. So where's the difference in the Black? What's the Black Indians? How come we don't see the Black Indians in these eastern parts of the United States, which is where they're claiming most of the Black Indians was on the eastern side and the southern eastern, and probably south to the Yamasee and all of these. This is the part where it's confusing to me and it does not add up. Other than that, it's like I'm glad that we're starting to use the word African American, because that was a big deal. Like, and, 6 years ago, people was saying, I'm not African American. I'm not Indian either. I'm Black American. But now when you look at TV, I'll land on this point. You look at TV, people are making a point, Black folks are making a point to say African American. And this is forcing people to say stuff that they never would have said had this conversation not come up. Now, we should take it further back. So we go back to the 80s, where we started in the 80s, and start to re-Africanize folks so that they can get it. This is who you are. This is where you are, a colonial settler state. And this is the time that we're in. Nolan Wells, come up missing, people hanging, voting rights repealed, rolled back. This is the time we're in. And so let's not, go to the crab shack and to the club and to the game and watch the game and think we're somewhere else because we just got to go to work every day. I know I'm all over the place, but that's my land.
No, you're making a lot of sense. I agree with you, man.
Yeah,
What
you're
else?
not making sense.
He is making a lot of sense.
A comment. I gotta say a comment behind that, because basically Black American and African American, we talking about that, right? Now, when you look at the movement that they had recently before ADOS or FBA, I feel like that movement was a failure because they failed to address the government for reclassifying them, because they were reclassified ever since coming out of chattel slavery. They're the only group that was reclassified several times. So they failed to address that fact, and they failed to get reparations. And what a lot of you guys don't know is what makes it so sad is when the FDA was doing their so-called push for reparations, a lot of people don't know this, but in California, they had they had a bill, they had a thing in California, right? And the Clippers is thing for their liquor license. The Clippers liquor license, it wasn't gonna get passed. They canceled the reparations push just so they could pass for the Clippers to get their liquor license. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, if these guys couldn't get reparations or redress the government over the fact that they were reclassified several times and couldn't get reparations, it's a wrap. Because if it was any other group that the government reclassified
Hey,
them that many
bro.
times, they would have got something.
Hold on, brother, real quick. So you're saying that the Los Angeles Clippers couldn't get their liquor license because of what? Huh?
No,
I'm
what I'm
confused.
saying is FBA. When they were doing their push for reparations, when they were doing their push for reparations or whatever in California, they had to build and the thing, whatever political thing they were doing. The same day they was doing a push, the Clippers was trying to get a liquor license. And I'm looking at this shit. And the Clippers was trying to get a liquor license for their shit because they had some shit where they wasn't allowed to sell liquor in the thing.
Man, I'm lost, y'all.
The
Help me out.
reparations thing
Can
that they do on the side.
I chime in, Dinus, real quick?
Okay, let
No,
me
okay,
finish this point. Let me finish making this point.
I'm lost. So you're saying that the reparations contingent on the Clippers liquor license? I'm lost.
Is they couldn't get they pushed aside reparations and they made sure the Clippers got their liquor license and they pushed the reparations thing to the side, like they're not going to get reparations. That's what I'm saying.
What he's saying, Don, is that they prioritized Steve Ballmer's getting his liquor license for that new arena that he built over
reparations.
Yeah, over hearing the case for reparations. That's what he's saying.
Well, I mean, well, what's that?
And I was following all of that. That made it to the a certain place, and then it didn't go. The Black Caucus of California didn't put it on the floor, so it made it to being able to be put on the floor, but they didn't put it on the floor, and they got a lot of backlash for that. So
Yeah,
a
at the
year later,
last
they
minute.
did put it on the floor.
Because they got a call by the white
Same
Democrats.
reason the Republicans put it on the floor and they got the liquor license. And the same night they didn't put the thing on the floor, they put the LA Clippers liquor license on the floor and they got it through. And I was shocked at that. Yeah. But I'll pass the mic.
All right. Let me pass the mic to Dre. Go ahead, Dre.
All right. So the points that I would like to make about this argument is that do I think that African American and Black American are the same thing, or is it different? I think there may be a slight difference because African American, for one, was coined by Jesse Jackson in the 1980s, so it's a relatively new term. Black American, I'm assuming it's probably a little bit longer than African American as far as like the terminology. But what I'm saying is that I notice that oftentimes when we have these conversations, nobody wants to get honest about how we're distinct from Africans. Africans have never endured American chattel slavery the way that our people have. So how can we cloak ourselves into people who sold us off and people who, who have no relatability to us? The only thing that we are tied together with is genetics and melanin, or maybe features. We're not tied in the way where like we have lived experiences, we have shared lineage. We don't have that type of connection. Now, do I think that we should try to find that type of thing? Yeah, we can find that type of thing. Maybe we can go on African ancestry and find the tribe that we might be related to, but that's not the same thing as like, the lived experiences that our people have endured for 400 years. So an African that just came over to the United States, we have there's no connection there because, for one, they probably come from an elite background versus people who I come from, which are the total opposite. So Africans who come over here, they got more in common with white people than they have in common with Black Americans because of their class and because of their lineage. A lot of the times they come from kings and queens. We come from the peasants. How are we the same? We're not the same in that way. The only thing we can really relate to in terms of that is just only skin color. And that's pretty much about it. And I know a lot of the times people say that ADOS should not be used because it uses the word slavery, but that's just what we're tied to. We can't sit here and just ignore that fact.
Organization. ADOS is a political organization. It is not a lineage.
But it's also a lineage. It's a lineage. It's not just an organization.
No. It's a name of an organization that deals with
ourselves into something that
let him land.
Tyler Rico call us the freemen.
Let the man make his point. The first bit of the sentence, I agree with it.
So y'all just want to change it up because y'all don't want to hear the word slavery. It sounds bad, but that is the truth. We got to get to the truth. We need to stop.
That's literally why Vet Cardinal was arguing with Tariq. He said it's not a lineage, it's a group. And Tariq took FBA and said, okay, if this is a group, I'm going to make FBA. And he made it, he called it a lineage. It was a group. ADOS is a group.
It's a lineage too. It's a lineage that
was a political group. That's what.
But it's also a lineage. It's both a political lineage, political organization, and
ADOS, not FBA.
Man, you guys got to let them finish.
Y'all are trying to solely make it be about a political organization. Yeah, part of it is because you got to do the political work, but outside of that, that is our lineage, though. That is what we're cloaked into. We're cloaked into American chattel slavery. We're not cloaked into the kings and queens that exist in Africa or existed in Africa. We don't have that background. We don't have that background. So how can we say that we're tied to these people that basically sold our people off? That it makes absolutely no sense. Now, can we be allies with certain people? Yeah, we can be allies with the Africans that didn't sell us off, but the ones who sold us off, hell no, we can't be allies with them.
How do you
How
know
how the
that your
hell?
ancestors weren't part of the people that sold off people? Your ancestors could
Mm,
have been that. Mine's
yeah,
too.
Hell the
exactly.
fuck
You
no! It's
don't
not going
know.
to be like that. That's not. Nah,
But you
that's not
don't
You
my
know
don't
that,
lineage.
brother.
understand that concept.
You
I don't
don't
think
know
you
that,
can
brother. I
understand
mean,
that concept.
yeah, he made a good point. He made the first good point about the shared experience and for how long they've been there, and those that suffered from slavery. Absolutely, those continental Africans. Absolutely, but one point is missing also the Africans who suffered, with the same faith in the continent that never left. But that said, okay, yes, that's true. Your identity are a bit separated based on experience, culture, and in over the years. That's true. I agree with that. You made a good point until you start going into the lineage bit and areas and all that, then you just lost me. But you cannot be boxed in to continental African who just migrated there not long ago. To you that been there for over 400 years, who suffered transatlantic slavery and managed to fight your way out of it over
What do
the
you mean
years.
boxed in? What do you mean?
Black Americans legally cannot be classified as the same as Africans who were born there. It's not right.
That's true. Yeah,
Period.
that's true because they don't
Right.
have the same experience,
Oh, okay. You mean
Racially,
through
we can be classified the same.
but not
Yeah, but
lineage wise.
no,
Yeah,
no, no,
racially,
not
that's
ethnically.
what they classify us as, racially.
Well, not not when it comes to
But that's
ethnicity,
the
they're not
only
the
thing
same.
that we have in common. We don't have anything else in common besides just
Yeah,
race.
yeah,
Because, like I
no,
said,
no,
it's
that's
all
not
about
true.
that's the point.
That's true.
That's not true.
See, y'all are in denial. This is what I'm saying. We got to stop
Let
being
me
in
give you
denial on this
examples. This
panel.
is why you need to read Zora Neale Hurston. This is why you need to read Robert Ferris Thomas. He's a white boy, but he's done some really good research. Read Zora Neale Hurston's research, and you'll find the bridge. See, you're young, right? My great grandmother was born in the late 1800s. I didn't know her, but I knew my grandmother was born in the early 1920, the
Was you
1920s.
born here in the United States?
In the United States. So
Okay, well, how is she tied to?
me speaking to my grandmother, she's telling me the stuff she learned from her mother was born in the late 1800s. So I'm saying to you, I'm trying to be a bridge and a bridge for you in our lineage because there are gaps that these younger people have. They're not connected to these people from the older generations. So me at 63 trying to educate you about some of the things that we would do in our families because my mother didn't say she was African. My mother didn't say she was Indian, but there were things that she would do, and I would tell her as I was learning all this African stuff. I was telling her, Mom, I learned this and this and this and this is probably what. And then she go, Oh yeah, my grandmother used to eat with her hands and she danced with her hips and she did these, said when your clothes is on backwards, it's Buddha Baye. And she and then all these different names that she was recalling when she was a young girl. These names that were not French or Creole, or they were just different, like Conca and Shadid.
Shy, I got a question,
That's
right?
good and all, but that's feel good stuff. That's not
No, no,
Hold
real
on,
sir.
brother. Let
No,
me
no.
ask a question real
lineage
I
quick.
actually met
basically.
people whose family told them they came from the. I met a brother who told me his grandmother told him, "Don't ever forget we come from the Congo." And then I
Right.
met a woman from Louisiana. I'm in the park playing drums with my students. She comes over to me and says her grandmother spoke an African language. This was a woman that I knew her son.
Hey,
At
I
that
think
time in the
Shaw's an
80s, she
AI
must have
bot,
been in
man.
her.
I
She
think
must have
Hey
he's
been
an
in
man,
her
Shy,
AI.
60s.
let me ask a question, right? I made a statement
He's an
yesterday.
AI. He's an AI bot.
We
Shaw.
hear you, brother. I made the statement yesterday that there was a concerted effort from whites, slave masters to take away the culture of African Americans. And I think you rebuttal or somebody else said that you
Yeah.
didn't lose all of your culture or all of your attachment to Africa, right? But my question is, do you think more and more people are not passing down those things that your grandmother told you about Africa and your connections to Africa? And as
I,
such, people like the brother on the panel has lost all connections or all recent memory of your connection to Africa. Do you think that is?
Let me answer that first because I didn't say anything. Let me answer
We're
that
400
first.
years removed from
Listen,
that. I
listen.
don't know what.
No, people
But
like Chad was saying, people were still practicing African culture and
Shaw.
they still
Shaw
attach
is an
themselves to the
AI
Yeah, there are
bot.
content.
He's like,
derivatives, but that does not
okay,
mean
There are
that we're
things
African
that
in
we
that
remember
sense, in
that
that
we were
context.
doing that are African things. The way we braid our
Shaw.
hair.
Shaw, you are not a real person, man. You an AI bot, man.
Shy is a real person. What are you talking
Okay,
about?
all
He's been in
right,
the
all
He's
pastor
right.
not
for
a real
years.
Guy shows
person.
himself in the
He's an
camera,
algorithm.
unlike most people.
okay.
Yeah,
He's
it's
So
not. Don't
also
say
where
that,
your
please.
people are from too. If your people
He's
are
a bot, man. He ain't a real
from
person.
Louisiana or the
He
South
told his
Carolina,
grandmother know about
it's gonna
Africa.
be
But
it's gonna be
was
easier.
did she bypass slavery? How did your
So
grandmother know anything about Africa?
again, they did not consider themselves
Are you an
African.
immortal man? Are you 300
And
years old?
I mean, hold on,
and
bro. Don't disrupt the show, man. Let
yeah,
him
don't
speak.
He's
I
a
disrupt
want
the
to
show
hear
bot.
him.
with the silliness,
Hey man,
bro.
you gonna
I'm
troll or what,
trying
man?
to
Stop trolling.
relay some
Yeah, no, chill
stuff to
out,
y'all.
chill out.
Mm.
But I gotta
Go ahead.
pass the
Go ahead.
mic. But I gotta pass the mic. Go ahead, Miss Sisters. Miss Sisters, unmute yourself. My Sisters, unmute yourself.
Hi, can you hear me?
Hear you
Yeah,
loud and
we
clear. Go
can.
ahead.
Okay, great. I have been listening and the first thing I want to say is I've received some comments in the chat about some of the statements that I've made as FBA, and I just want to say that I am here to learn and to try to understand why Africans and Caribbeans believe what they do or why they take certain positions. And I comment trying to understand what they think, their logic behind their reasoning, and I do know that some of the comments that they make, may be inaccurate, but that's not the reason why I'm here. I'm not, and I'm not here to edit everyone's comment. I just want to try and understand where people are coming from. But I am aware of that there may be some inaccurate information. You know, about regarding the topic at hand here, I am going to say something that's going to make many Africans and Caribbeans very uncomfortable, because it has to be said, particularly from the point of view of a Black American, foundational Black American, ADOS, whatever term, how you identify.
African American?
um, no. And the reason why I say that is because the African American term needs to be retired. And here
I agree.
and here is the reason why. Africans and Caribbeans, they can immigrate to this country and they receive immediate, and I'm using the word and I'm emphasizing immediate, tangible benefits. As a foundational Black American, and I know this sounds crude, but sometimes things have to be said. What is the economic benefit to maintaining the African moniker in terms of African American? And here is why I oppose the title African American. You tell me, what country in the African continent can I purchase land, have the land deeded over to me in a 100% title, and what African country can
Liberia.
I pass that property to my American descendants?
Senegal, South Africa,
Liberia.
depending where
Sierra
in
Leone.
Nigeria.
Also,
No, not Sierra Leone, because Sierra Leone is leasehold. But you can
Okay.
still pass it on.
also, let me say this. You can
Hold on, I'm not done. So
Depends,
you got
Dennis.
Senegal, South Africa, Namibia. Let's see here. What else?
100%.
Cote d'Ivoire, Togo, Benin Republic, Nigeria depends where. No, Lagos for short. We'll say Nigeria just depends where. You can't in Sierra Leone because it's leasehold, but you can still pass it on, but it's still leasehold, so it's kind of tricky. Even Ghana is leasehold. So it's really about which countries are freehold for non people that don't have citizenship. That's all.
Okay, I have a couple of other questions, if you'll permit me.
I know, but did that make sense? Did I answer some of your question? That there are, but it really depends on the country. There you go.
Okay, all right. So, but it's
can I say this real quick?
No, let her finish.
Okay, my second question: if I were to move to an African country, and number one, can I get citizenship? And number two, can I vote in your elections?
Well, but Maya, if the immigrant,
no.
It's
I wouldn't recommend
it. This is what Africans and Caribbeans get when they migrate to our
That's not true.
They get to
Maya, that's not
in the
true.
political process.
They always want us to be the mules to their movements.
But Maya, that's not true. They have to go, there's a nationalization process they have to go through.
Okay, is there a naturalization process for all countries in the African continent?
It depends. It depends. So I was yes and no. The majority, yes, but some like Tanzania, they don't allow dual citizenship. So if you wanted to naturalize, you would have to renounce. So Tanzania, Cote d'Ivoire, at one time Liberia, but they changed it. You would have to renounce your U.S. citizenship if you wanted to nationalize. But other countries like
as an American, you don't have to
let me, Maya, you gotta let me finish. You gotta let me. You asked a question, I'm trying to give it an answer. Calm down. Then Senegal, you can have dual citizenship. There's a nationalization process. Sierra Leone is 5 years. If you're a resident for 5 years, you could get sworn in and you can nationalize Sierra Leone. Nigeria, I believe, is 10. So it depends on the country.
Okay, my third question.
Does that answer your question?
That answers my question, but you said it's not across the board. It's not standardized.
Well, yeah, but Maya, you have to understand there's 54 countries in Africa.
Okay, my third.
I mean, even in Europe, it's not that standardized, so they vary.
Yeah, go ahead, Maya.
My third question: if I become, can I be appointed to your courts and make law?
It depends on the country. If you become a citizen, yes. But again, like America, if you're not born there, you can't run for president. Depends on the country.
And Dennis, I want to answer her about the benefits we get as Africans, just to elucidate her.
No, you got guy. Let Maya finish.
No, that was my major point.
Okay.
Africans and Caribbeans, they are receiving far greater tangible benefits coming to our country than we can ever receive.
Oh, that's not true.
I agree. Yeah. I agree with
that. I just want to give her an example, Diners. What we received when we came into America.
How they be receiving more?
Wes Moore is the governor of Maryland. He's a Jamaican immigrant.
Is your immigrant
Thank you for educating me, Diners. I did not aware of this leasehold in Sierra Leone. It's only
let me say it to Ms. Maya's sisters, right? When my mother came into this country, right, she came on a diversity visa program, with our family. The only benefit we got, we wasn't even eligible for things like food stamps, right? Because we had a sponsor, my auntie and her husband, they sponsor and hosted us in their home in New Jersey and in New Jersey. She got a document that says she was permitted to work in the United States. And after a month or so, she got a job and she started working. And that's where we started from. We didn't get money. We didn't get a bag of rice brought to our house. We didn't get, palliatives or any of those things. You get your documentation that permits you to work and you start working. So this idea that African immigrants, unless these are people who came on refugee status, which is a different status, and then the government might help subsidize like your living situation, try to, acclimate you to the United States with certain, help, financial help. But most immigrants who are not coming in on refugee status, they get a documentation to work and that's it. You go out and you work. That's why you have a sponsor, because the sponsor will be responsible for you until you get on your feet. So I don't know where you get that information from. That
why
we
is
get
that
money
not called
or
a
we get
handout?
something.
But when we talk about reparations, then people call it a handout.
What handout? Refugees is internationally agreed. Hold on. Being a refugee is internationally agreed upon that if somebody's a refugee in your country, you have to give them certain, essential things that they need to live in that country until they can establish themselves. That's not.
But nobody calls that a handout. That's still resources.
Other people in other countries get it. If you go to, Egypt or some other, European country, they give refugees certain things because they came from a war-torn country. That's the
Hey,
thing.
Like,
That's
Elvis,
global.
like the
Elvis,
million
That's under
Ukrainians,
the
white
U.
Okay,
That's
I'd
under the
like to
Ukrainians,
UN.
talk about that
like the
refugee
million white
status.
Ukrainians
hey,
that y'all don't
Elvis.
care about. You don't talk about
El,
the
can I
million white
ask Elvis a
Ukrainians
question real
that
quick?
are
No,
getting
no, well, no.
Section 8.
Let Maya finish. Go ahead, Maya.
Okay, I'd like to talk about that refugee status because the reason why a lot of immigrants coming into the United States are claiming refugee status is because they can't qualify under the regular immigration status. So if they come to the border and say, I'm coming here as a refugee, they have to be processed. And so it's being exploited.
Now,
No, you're mistaking asylum for
hold on,
refugee.
I would say this. She is correct. There's a lot of immigration fraud going on. I do agree with that. She's right about that.
Yeah, I mean, look, to be honest, first of all, Dennis, I didn't know because I'm not a foreigner in Sierra Leone. I'm a Sierra Leonean. I did not know some of the rules are very stringent towards foreigner when it comes to land. But I mean, sorry for the lady that just spoke. The more you speak, sometimes the more you actually sound a bit more like in the UK we call it the anti-immigrant right wing rhetoric. That's how you come across to me,
And the
and I think
destabilization that the United
yeah,
States caused
it's
Haiti,
and it
Most
seems
actually
like you're
Africans
caused
more
don't
the
come on
concerned. No,
asylum.
one
destabilization in
second, Sha.
Haiti.
One
The
second. One
Mexicans
second,
come on
Sha.
asylum.
Yeah, she seemed like she's more targeting the African migrants who are coming there because she never mentioned other migrants. But anytime we were having a
Ukrainians.
conversation, she's more talking
Hey,
based on the African migrant who are
I have
coming
a
there to
question.
benefit.
I have a
Who are the
question.
The
minority of
million
immigrants coming in?
Ukrainians, the
Do you
million
have some
Elvis,
white
animosity
Ukrainians,
towards
they
African
don't care
migrants,
about
madam?
that. They only
Hey,
care
hold
about
on, hold on, hold
blacks.
on.
No, wait one
No,
second,
let me
madam.
Dennis,
say
I had
this.
a
I'm
Let me
asking
say
question.
this.
the lady a
Dennis, I
question.
had a question.
Madam,
Can
do
you
you
let me
have
ask that question?
some animosity towards African migrants who are coming to America?
No, I have no animosity towards African migrants. I,
Why did
and
you
this
mention
is
the Ukrainians?
whoa. We weren't talking about the topic. Doesn't have to deal with Ukrainians. We're talking about we're talking about African and Caribbean immigrants. But
Yeah, we're
I
talking about
do
refugees right now, though.
okay, and absolutely yes. Um, the Chinese, they are also Hispanics. There are all of these groups are exploiting the refugee or the asylum process.
What about the
No, you don't know how it works. To
let
be
me
a refugee,
wait. What
you
about
have to
the
have a provable
destabilization? Hold
conflict
on.
in your country
The
that the United States has
destabilization,
And
recognized.
many
right?
of
The
them
You can't just claim to
destabilization
be a
that the United
refugee.
States
amnesty
caused
means
Haiti.
90% of amnesty
Listen.
requests are rejected.
Your country destabilized Haiti, and to the point where
Your country too, man.
United States owes Haiti's reparations for taking their gold in 1914 and starting the Federal Reserves in 1915, and then installing Papa Doc Duvalier, removing Aristide, all of the things that they have done. They have put troops into the Haiti. They have created a mess in Haiti. And so all of those Haitians that come here have a right to come here, should come here, and should get benefits. What about
Hey,
that?
No,
Elvis,
but we should be put first as Black Americans. Black Americans
are
should be
you
the ones to
saying
be put
that
first
food stamps is
over
an
the Haitians.
American privilege? Elvis, are you saying food stamps is an American privilege?
Well, when she said we get privileges or we get tangibles, that's why I was asking her what does she mean by that? Because as an immigrant who comes on different statuses, if you're a refugee, you're on a special status. That means you have a war usually or natural
Okay,
disaster,
no.
and they have to bring
Do
you
you know
here.
my mother and father was married and we couldn't get
House
any
loans,
food
business
stamps?
loans.
Yeah, because you didn't qualify for it based on your income.
We
There's
descendants of
stipulations
slaves.
for it.
We
You
could
know that.
not only food stamps, we couldn't get any government assistance at all.
Yeah,
Housing, nothing, because my
you
mother
qualify
my
for it
mother and
based
father
on
was
income,
married.
bro.
So it has nothing to do with being
Yeah, because you come from a 2-parent household, it was a good thing. You won't qualify for it. What are you talking
That's
about?
good.
That's good,
That's good,
That's
bro.
that's
Yeah.
really
Probably
good.
American poor.
Oh my
Huh.
gosh, man. Where's
I
my
have a question.
What's the
I gotta
what
find her
I'm
my
Wow.
This man is
what I'm
mad
actually
that
I'm really quite
this man.
shocked.
I'm talking. This man is upset that his 2-parent household that was married cannot qualify for food stamps. Are you serious?
A 2-parent household doesn't mean stability. Not all the way, because they could have been poor.
It means combined income, and usually they're not making less than $30,000 together.
But a migrant
It
family
doesn't
could
apply
get
to
all thousands of dollars,
situation.
$15,000.
$15,000.
Venezuelan family in Chicago was getting 15,000 on their food stamp link, 5,000 in cash they could deposit, 10,000 in
Well,
food.
you gotta take that up with your
that's what
you gotta take that you gotta take that up with your ADOS FBA mayor.
but it has nothing to do with being an American. He's saying
he
was saying like that's an American privilege.
FBA mayor runs Chicago, man. That's
Well,
your
but I
FBA
wanted
mayor.
to say this. Hey, I wanted to say this though. Do you know Kyrie Irving is a Native American?
I'm talking Can you at least admit that FBA runs Chicago?
Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, he said that
Also
reluctantly.
Mexicans.
So what is that?
But I would say
some
this.
type of dog whistle to insinuate that is a
I'm just
crime
saying,
rating just because
man. FBA, man. You know, Black excellence.
It's true.
FBA,
It's true.
Black excellence is the
But
mayor
it's
of Chicago, man. They run Chicago.
It's a huge. He's controlled by the Latinos. I think he's scared. But regardless of that, I was just making the point that Elvis said that he couldn't get food stamps as though that was somehow American privilege. Well, food stamps was created during a New Deal for white people, and the black people couldn't even get it back then. In the 30s, during the Great Depression.
You're not hearing what I'm saying, brother.
But then put black people as the face of it.
Like we the face of food stamps in America.
Jesus, you're completely missing his point. His point is the argument is like people like Elvis come to America and just they could get all the benefits, and Elvis is saying no, that's not the case.
Well, it might apply to different situations depending on their situation, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist because some of them they do apply to certain programs.
Like it depends on the
programs
situation.
or whatever.
Well, let's not forget. Some immigrants will come in. They might claim some sort of benefits, the beginning before they get their feet down. But once they do start working, they actually tend to, pay more taxes and provide more into the system than some Americans who are born in America that have been claiming benefits all their lives. So you can't just categorically, say immigrants are coming there to claim benefits. Because even in the UK, if you look at the immigrant that comes here, in the beginning, at some part of their point of their life, they will claim social welfare. But as they tend to settle down, they tend to provide, pay more taxes than the locals who are born in these countries. So what Em is saying is a myth. And also, why targeting this minute little percentage of African migrants? Instead of targeting the majority of the people who are crossing the borders from the Latino world.
Look, we're not targeting anybody.
When people say
we're
that they
not
came here
targeting
with $1 in
anybody.
their pocket or 10
When they
cents in their
come
pocket.
here, they target us. They looking for what's available to black people or minorities. They the one targeting our communities. We just minding our business.
No, I agree with you in certain things, but some of the things we're far away from each other, bro. Because now, recently, the way you're sounding, bro, you sound like you got some kind of hate, and I'm not with that. I don't associate with anybody that got some form of hate, especially for my people. I'm with people who are fair-minded. If you're not fair-minded, you're not level-headed, then we can't level.
Hatred requires emotional attachment. I'm just speaking objectively.
Do you know that if for immigrant to qualify for certain benefits, they have to reach be beneath a certain threshold? So if an African immigrant coming to a place where he's living in a household like I was, where my auntie worked for the postal office, my uncle was working and had his own company, that we ain't qualified for any kind of benefits, even though my mom came with barely any money in her pockets. So the point here is, when you think that we go there and we try to take your benefits, no, people who apply for them, those Africans or immigrants.
It's not my benefits because I can't get it anyway.
Let me finish. When they apply for it, they have to get vetted. They have to see that they qualify for it before they get it. They're not taking anything away from you.
It's not taken from me. It's you're just usurping the system that you didn't have in Liberia since 1980. Y'all ran the country to the ground.
Most European countries don't have that system. So thank you to FDR for bringing the social welfare program that helps a lot of poor people.
Take advantage of our robust economy. You gonna take advantage of our robust economy because y'all ran your own country to the ground. Y'all leaders stole all the
No.
killed all of the elites.
What corporations are taking advantage of Haiti, and what corporations are taking advantage
care
of
about Haiti, man? Why you keep mentioning Haiti, folks?
No, I'm saying not only Haiti, but other countries too.
Nobody care about them countries.
Look at Venezuela. Look, what did they
Who cares about Venezuela?
Hey, Dinus,
What
can I ask you a
they
question?
just
They just
took
had an earthquake.
Venezuela and they took their oil and they're about
Don't
to set
nobody
up these
care.
corporations. No, you don't care because you don't care about that kind of
The
stuff.
Venezuelans came over here and
You
robbed
only
us
care,
all of this
and
money,
this
and we
is
got
why
to
we
take that
say
away.
this is why we say you're xenophobic because you don't care about the other shit that white folks do
Yeah.
to other people.
Hey,
You only care
hey,
about
Uh,
black people coming into this
hey, Sha,
country. You're
Sha,
Tanzania
xenophobic
was an
and
let
you're
me give
American
you this
ignorant
tidbit, right?
United
Y'all don't
and
care about
you're
that either.
ignorant and you're
In
xenophobic.
in
And I'm here to
1990,
try to
right?
get you
In
to see.
1990, George H.W. Bush, the father.
In our social welfare system. That is certainly not true. Are you all aware that
Say that again.
right now the Jamaicans are protesting Haitians TPS holders from being deported into Jamaica? Are they
Rightfully so, because it's a war zone.
so
Do you
don't
have
say
problem with that, madam?
call us xenophobic because we want to protect our social welfare systems.
No,
Lord
no,
have
no. And you're
That's
mercy. Is
not.
that the
instead
only
Yeah,
of
thing
I
you
instead of
agree with you.
building
protect
That's
your
not
in
own
xenophobic.
America?
industries,
So that's the
Is that
instead
most
the
of
only thing
valuable
that
thing
you
you
organizing,
have in
protect
instead of
in
America is your
America?
social
organizing your
welfare
people,
programs.
Is that the only
instead of
thing to protect?
organizing your
I have a question though
communities and
about.
building your
Oh
own
my God, we are
businesses,
fighting for
then
the
you're
crumbs
worried
and it's
about
so
Africans
sad.
coming over here taking free
Oh
benefits
my God.
that the
Oh
United
my
States
God.
is a penny, it's a
Africans
drop in a
have
bucket.
not really made a
And they try to
positive
and they try
impact
to
Priorities are
push
wrong.
in
meritocracy on us.
America
Let me make the
Your
point, right?
other than their
priorities
own
are
benefits.
messed up.
If you come into this country and you you need government services, for example, the
They shouldn't
Somali,
be here.
So let's stop it.
the
Oh,
Stop
the
it with your vote.
Somalians ran it up.
If you don't
Somalians
like
ran
it,
it
then
up.
your people
Somalis
should
came in
stop
on
it.
refugee status. The
Stop it
Americans
through
went
your
into
vote.
Mogadishu
And you
and fucked
can't stop it
Somalia
through
up.
your vote because you're not
And then,
organized.
Yeah.
Sha, let me
You
make the
don't
point, bro.
control
Let me
your
make this point.
politics.
go ahead
You
and
Let me
make
can't
make
the
the
stop
point.
it.
Let me make
Stop
the
it. You
point,
can't.
please. Sha, hold on 1 second. In 1990, George H.W. Bush, he made a program called a Diversity Visa Lottery Program. That was a policy. He made that program because he wanted to bring more diverse people from around the world into the United States. That's what the white man in power in 1990 did. So he has a quota. About 50,000 comes from Africa every year. That's U.S. policy. And you think they just bring these people into these countries without any kind of social program set up for them if they need help? But with Somalia, they ran into Somalia, they took out the government, they made it a failed state, and they made a refugee program for Somalis. They settled them here in Minnesota, in Minneapolis, they settled
They
them in
don't
St.
care,
Cloud.
Elvis.
Prior
They
to
don't
that,
care
it was
about
They
that.
made
racism
a
that.
concerted
Well,
thing.
let him make his point. Let him make his
Right,
point.
to
Then. Go
bring
on.
those people here. That's your government doing it, not the Africans. So even with the monks, the people from Laos, when they went there, there was a guy who fought on the side of the U.S. against the Vietnamese. He made an agreement after the war, they're going to bring almost all of the monk people to the United States. They brought them here, they brought them to Wisconsin, Minnesota, California. All of these things are done through government acquiescence with those African nations or Asian nations. They're not done by the Africans. So don't blame
And
us.
when the
Blame your
white man
government for
brought
the
them
And
here,
policies.
what she can do is she can get
Okay,
her people, her 50 million
Elvis,
people. Wait.
who
She can get her
destabilized your
people,
country?
her 50 million people to
Bro,
Who
I'm
vote
trying to
just
avoid
destabilized
that
like
topic
Liberia?
because
her.
it's only going to make you feel
That's
bad
your
if we ready to
power
get
is through
into
the
it.
vote,
I'm
Okay,
but
trying to
you're not
avoid it. Don't go there.
organized.
Yeah,
white
who
and
folks
destabilized
brought
your
them
own
that's
people
country?
what I'm
We
over
saying.
as a
here
people are not
No, no,
tether
no,
organized.
no, no.
against us.
That's
No.
why.
Is no. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is also right. We it seemed like in the UK they had a system where at the moment basically an immigrant cannot come here if you come migrate to the UK in the next 5 years you're not allowed to claim. They have what they call no recourse to public fund. Okay, that means you cannot claim benefits. You're not entitled to any form of government assistance. And the government in America, they have the option to actually opt into that also. Bring a law to say, well, migrant can come in, okay? You're not allowed to claim anything. If you do claim anything when you're applying for your documents, your permanent status, that will obviously affect it. So you don't blame the people that are migrating. In fact, don't blame the
You
one
know why
tiny
they're
percent of
blaming the
Hey,
African
hey,
people though?
migrants.
I
You know
forgot
Blame
where
why
we
the
they're
actually
government.
blaming
from.
the people? The reason they're
Af-
blaming the
Yeah.
people
Hold
is
on,
it's
he's an apologist
psychological.
for everybody
It
except
is
his own people.
it's a psychological problem that we have as a people, and like Dr. Joy DeGruy explains it post Post-traumatic slave
Don't nobody
syndrome.
want to hear your apologies for
Right.
everybody except your own people, man. So
Post-traumatic
Africa,
slave
It's not
syndrome.
just. It's a
We have
cantankerous.
psychological issues. That's why we go straight to
hold on.
slavery.
You
That we
say the
sold
same
our
thing
people
every
into
show.
slavery. Right, because we have to explain it from a
Regardless of
psychological
that,
point of view.
regardless
We
of
have
that,
a psychosis. We're
Africa.
sick
Let me
as
get
a
your
people.
opinion about this,
We
right?
don't know who we are.
Hold on. You
We
just
don't
babbling
know
the
where
same
we
stuff you say
are,
every
and
show.
we don't
We
know
done
what
heard it
time it
already.
is.
We know where we are. We do know
No,
who
you
we
don't.
are.
You
Africa,
think you're
right?
in
Yes,
your
we do
country,
know
In
who we are.
America.
In
You think
America,
you're in your
they
country, America.
require. Hold on.
This
You
is
just
not
you
your
saying the
country.
same talking points.
We
But it's
built this
not
You
your
speak the
country.
same talking
country.
points.
Because if it was
Africa,
your
right?
country, you would stop the Africans and
In
Caribbeans from coming
America,
here.
Shall let,
It's
let
not
do
me
your
you know they
respond to
country.
that?
But why
require a
would they want
black
to come to America
family
if it's an
to be
imperialist country
separate?
that
Hold on, won't y'all just stop talking? I'm not the host, but the host is the one that can say that. But I'm just saying it because I want to ask Africa a question. Do you
Go on.
know in America they require black families to be separate before the black woman, the single black woman, can get assistance? They never really, they
still have the
never
same.
gave the black
You have the same system
American
here.
man
That's your
anything.
country. This is America.
Yeah.
That's what
That's
America
not true.
does.
Diners was on food stamp as a single black man in California. What are you talking about?
Yeah, you
I'm
have to
talking
be a
about a
single
family.
parent to
Hey,
receive.
yeah, no, yeah, guy, yeah. Hold on, if I can interject,
Come on,
that
Mike.
correct. When I was in LA, when I was an aspiring actor, I walked right into the food stamp office, said, "Hey, I ain't got no money." They gave me $250 a month.
I'm talking about as far as a family in the
As far as a family's
1960s and
concerned,
70s.
a woman has to be by herself. Yeah, that's
My mother
America.
and father could not get anything from this government.
Right.
Nothing.
That's your country. You know, that's
In order
America.
for
This
my
is
mother to
this
get
is your
money,
country.
she would have had to get divorced. So they
So
breaking up
change
our
that.
family, right? But these
So then
immigrants,
change the
they don't have the
laws.
same stipulation.
Right.
They could
So
come here as
change
a
the
family
laws if
like
you don't like
Elvis
it.
and
Change the
get
laws.
resources.
Can I respond to M?
You
Can I
can't
respond to
change the
M?
laws because you're not
I told you we didn't
organized.
get any
It's
resources. What are you talking about?
discriminatory towards Black
You
Americans.
get here as a
It's the
resource. What
same
you think you deserve to be here
man.
for and get a job in
I
our
live in
country for?
Seattle, and
Why
I
you think
know
you
for a
deserve to be
fact
here?
Tell that
here
to
in
George H.W.
Seattle, the
Bush. He made the
immigrants run
policy.
it
You don't
up on
deserve
these
to be here.
resources.
Yeah, tell that to
Yeah,
George
yeah,
H.W.
man.
Bush.
Oh
He
yeah.
made the
This is a
policy,
point I
dog.
wanted to make
question.
earlier,
You want to
right?
answer?
When you listen
You
to
asked
these
me a
Africans
question.
speak,
Do
they
you want
have.
you want to respond to the question?
I mean, it's
Yeah,
like
Do you want to
they're very
rhetorical
respond?
anyway. You
fair
don't have
and
to
they have
respond.
No,
But
educated
do you
I
want
would say
me to
this:
respond to?
you
You want me to
you
respond
would
to your
hear more
question?
Africans speaking highly of white people than they do of blacks. Thank Bush,
Facts.
like what CD. Oh,
Yeah.
Clinton
Facts.
was the one
So
that brought me
M,
They
here.
did you ask
love
me
You
the
a
think
white
question? Do you
Clinton
want me
would
to
have
respond to your
brought you
question,
here
M?
if we
I have
didn't
a question
reform the
about the
Immigration
immigration.
Act
dude.
in 1965
He needs
that
to smoke up. He needs to
expressly
mic up.
excluded Africans from America since 1808? Africans by law could not come here.
They
We
let the Somalians come
reversed
here,
that
get
law,
daycares
and
and
now
everything.
they say thank Bill Clinton, thank Bush for us being here. No,
Yeah,
we have to
thank
reform
them,
that
bro.
law.
They made the policy, bro. Without them
Can we
making
get
that
back to
policy,
the
we wouldn't
Can
be
we
here,
get
bro.
back to
Thank
the
Clinton.
topic? Can we get back
These
to the
Africans
topic,
come up, thank
please?
Clinton, thank
Yeah, we
Bush.
came on a diversity visa lottery program
Yeah.
started by
Kissing the
Bush in
ass of the white
1990.
Let's
man.
move
Don't
on. Let's
blame
move
us.
on.
Kissing the damn
Yeah.
ass of the white man. That's all y'all do.
Man, you bad, bro?
Okay.
Be mad, man.
Yeah, he's
You know
mad.
what? I would
He's
So
he's
Eldridge,
got
just leave it.
issues.
finish what I
He's
Look,
said.
got issues.
There's
So what I'm
guys
trying to
in the
say
In
is
his
right.
great
architectural
country,
program
America.
Let me
for
respond. Let me
trouble Youth
respond
in
to the question.
Chicago, and
Let
he
me
think he's
respond.
doing something,
Hey,
man.
Donis, can I
Okay,
go?
let me
I
respond
haven't
to his
went in a
question.
minute,
Hey,
Kissing
man.
the ass of Bush.
I had to step away. Let Miss Sisters ask her question, then we'll pass it to Big Black. Is that
Okay.
Big Black talking? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I would just like to conclude. You know, maybe I'm just a little more combative this evening, but when Africans and Caribbeans come to the United States, they are able to receive immediate, tangible benefits. When Black Americans travel or want to immigrate to Africa, we have to come with money and invest.
Yeah.
There is
What benefit do we get when we first come?
That's true, because they will rip you off because you're an
No,
American.
I'm
So that's
asking
why
about the
I know that
Africans.
they
What
don't cater
benefits
to
do
the
the
Africans.
African get
They
when they
cater to
first
the
get here?
Americans, and they
You
want to
get to earn
loans,
our
rip us
money.
off.
You get to get a
car
job.
loans.
How can we get car
Africans
loans
come
without
here.
credit? Do you know how it works,
Immigrants
bro?
come here. Immigrants
You
come
No,
here.
need
Johnny,
credit and
they
an
listen.
just
established
make up
Immigrants.
job to
shit.
get a car
Hold on.
loan
You
and a
asked a
They're
credit
question.
loan.
making up
You
shit
hold
on the
on. You
spot.
asked a question. Immigrants will come here within a week or a month. Next thing you know, they got a house loan, car loan, and
What?
business loan.
That's
That's the
Are
ridiculous.
same.
you
That's the
crazy?
same rhetoric.
That would be
That's
Absolutely
the same
true.
irresponsible.
rhetoric.
That would
Absolutely
be
true. I seen
irresponsible
everybody
of
that
any
went
bank
down
to
here.
give you a loan without an
1
established
month.
job
I'm
or
very,
credit
I
history.
am very
1 month.
disappointed in this conversation today. I'm really disappointed in
I
what
mean,
I'm
are you smart
hearing
enough, brother? Do you know what
Why
it
are you
means to get a
from my
loan?
disappointed?
own
Do you know
people.
what they
You know
look
I
that
for
am
the
before they
really
give
crowd
you a
could
loan
be
for a
like
house
that.
or a personal loan?
Africa. Don't be
No, I'm
disappointed.
really
You
disappointed.
know how it could be
They'll be here a few
up
months, and
in
next thing
here.
you know,
No,
they're
but
running a daycare.
I
They'll
You'll
be
never
here
never
a
knew.
know
I
few
when you're
never
gonna
months.
get up
knew.
in
Next
here.
thing you know, they got a whole daycare.
Yeah, Sha,
Stop it.
Sha,
Come on,
Don't
look,
be
man.
disappointed. This is what it is. This is what we're
no, but
dealing
Sha,
with.
what I'm hearing from black brothers in the US is the sort of stuff you hear from the right wing white man in
Not
Europe.
That's
all,
the
brother.
time
Not
we're
I'm
all.
in.
Y'all
telling you,
Africans are
this,
more
Yeah,
right
that is the
wing
time
than
that
the
we're in.
this. No, but you listen. What I'm hearing from the Black Americans online now is exactly
Hmm.
what the pro racist anti immigrant rhetoric
Man, we don't
spew
want to hear that
online.
shit.
And that's why
y'all
you
do
I'm
hear
telling
people
you.
anti
not.
Black
They're not
American
from African
Hold
rhetoric all
descent.
the
on,
time. Y'all do
Spansky.
that
You
My
Afro
also
God,
country shit
damn.
every
you
single
also
time we get
hear
on
that
these
they're
panels.
not of
Y'all always
African
y'all
descent.
are,
That they're
y'all ain't getting
Indian.
reparations.
They're talking
Y'all ain't getting that.
right ring points, and they're not
Ah,
doing anything in the
I'm ready to
community.
start.
As a black
I'm ready
They're
to
American, you
not
start.
go to
doing nothing
Africa,
in the
if you're not
community.
dark skinned enough, they're not going to treat you as their African brother and sister. You got to look like
Have you been to
Dynas just for
Africa?
them
Have
to
you been to
No,
accept
that's
you.
not
Africa?
true.
I've
That's
been
Have you
not
there
been to
true.
three
Africa's
Africa?
times.
got
I've been there
Have
three
you been
African
there?
times.
African
Well, I've been
And
there
each
African
time I
too.
tribes
go
are
there,
African. So we
each
have
time
And it
I
light
go
wasn't
there,
like
skin,
they
that
let
for
me
dark
me. So
know.
we
skin.
had two
They
different
We
treat
have
you as
light
experiences.
skin,
American.
dark
They do not
skin.
see us as no
Tall, short. We have African that have different admixture. We're not all the same. Africa is the
Right.
most diverse. We have the genetically most diverse group of people in the world. You come to color, hair,
Well, why
height.
don't you accept black Americans as your African brothers and
We
sisters? As soon
accept
as we
Well,
get
I was
there, you look
accepted.
at us as foreigners. So stop it.
I was
no,
okay.
no,
I
no,
might have
no,
been
no,
looked
no.
at as a
That's
foreigner,
not
but
true.
I was also looked at as somebody returning back. So and when I went, so
Yeah,
my experience was different than yours.
Yeah.
yeah. Everyone experience is
Bro,
different, okay?
you
And
gotta tell me what the banks that give people loans when they first come to America, man. I
Right
got a family
away.
member that's coming in,
Right.
maybe they can get a house
I
loan and a
guarantee
bank
you that
loan.
the United States is willing to give a foreign black person a loan versus a black American in a heartbeat.
That's
I
not true. It's
guarantee you.
based on credit score, it's based on work history, brother.
But
Well,
think
when you
about
Unless
the
come
it's a
into a
history of
special
country
black
brand new,
program
you
Americans.
for a
They
start
were
from
special set of
zero.
denied
people.
business loans. They were denied business loans in this damn country. How are you gonna tell me that an
There's some
African
truth to that,
cannot
though.
get a
There is some
loan
truth to that.
before a black American?
There's some truth to that. I got to
Why,
tell
why,
you.
why they have to tell you why they deny
But
your
that's
loan? Why do they deny your loan if you ever apply for a business
You
loan?
guys don't know American history. That's the problem.
I know the history. I'm telling you, if you apply for a credit card, you apply for a bank loan and they deny you, they have to write you a letter and tell you why they denied you. Why did they deny you for your bank loan if you apply for one?
It's not because of credit. You know why? It's because of the fucking history of America. That's the reason why.
Oh, okay. All right, bro.
That's
If
because
they
of,
tell if
let's
you got a 500 credit score and you try to get 10,000 from a bank, they're going to deny you. If you only been
well,
working to a place for a year and
See,
you try
us
to
black
apply for a ten
Americans
thousand
had to
dollar
go
loan,
through
they're
all
going to
this
deny
no,
you,
but
fighting.
bro.
Elvis,
Us black Americans had to go through
You
all
take
this
a
fighting.
Mexican American who's got a 600 credit score, and an African American got 600 credit score. They're likely going to give that Mexican American a loan before they give the African
They're all the
American.
things that got to go
okay.
with it.
So
Your
what about the
history,
yeah,
your
FHA
credit
loans? The
history is
FHA
always
With the
loans
looked
that
at.
they
It's not
same,
just
denied
the score.
with all
If
for
things
you have
being
a
the
individuals
history
in a
of
same,
loan.
delinquency
with
and
all
not
things
paying
being the
bills and
same,
going to settlements,
Elvis, with all
You
things
guys
being the
must not
same.
understand systematic racism is a real thing in America. You guys can't be that
They're
stupid.
trying to,
I
yeah, they're
Systematic
hear
trying to
you.
racism is real.
But
erase
you
that
have to
part of
anyway,
tell
it. They're
guys,
trying
me
to make it
I'm
Elvis,
gonna
don't
why
don't
they
let
I'm
deny
gonna
your
stop.
don't
loan.
let you
Um,
dying on that hill. Chill
thank you
out,
very
Elvis.
much. Love to you all. Let
we got
I'm
to
Just
get
gonna
like
real
stop
and
now.
honest here. We
This
redlining,
can't sit here and
conversation
be
is not for
redlining
me
disingenuous
and
all
all
today.
the
that
Thank
is
you.
time.
real.
Bye bye.
Okay, let
I'm
me.
an
Elvis,
African immigrant,
according to
brother,
them,
man. And I'm telling you, we
all
don't
they
get
care
any
about is
benefit that you
Bush
don't
in
get.
1990. All they care about in American history is Bush and Clinton.
Bro, I'm just
They
telling
don't
you
care
that's
about
the
nothing
policy
else.
that was made. The American government wanted more diversity in their country, so
That
they
was the
started something called,
H-1B1 visas. That was high
nah, that's
skills
not what it
visas.
was. They started a program called a diversity visa lottery program.
And who pushed for
So
that? Black Americans.
Exactly. The black caucus.
You guys
That's
It's
have
like
no
always. The
there
black
was
appreciation.
caucus
civil
always
back in
help
the
these people.
60s. In the 60s, we were, revolting adulting and civil rights, and that was one of the things we fought for is having Black folks being able to come over here.
Damn
And
sure it
so
wasn't
it
white
came down the
Americans
line.
fighting for that.
Right. So
Damn
it came,
sure it wasn't no white
According to
Americans
Elvis,
fighting
the
for
white
that.
man did it. The white man did it.
I'm telling you who made the policy in 1990, right? He made two
What about
policies.
1965, the Immigration Act that reversed the exclusion, the
that was the
African
start of
I'm
exclusion
it.
from
telling you,
America?
Yeah,
I'm
that was the
telling you
start of it.
specifically the program that my family came into this country
Hey,
on.
hey,
It's a
Elvis, let
diversity
me ask you
visa
this.
So
lottery
you should
program.
be grateful to Black Americans and stop disrespecting the history because you
All
coming
they
in here
do
on
is
our back.
disrespect
I don't
us.
disrespect Black Americans.
Yeah,
I
you
never
don't have
do.
to.
You are by dismissing what we're telling you is our reality. That's
But
disrespect.
he's telling
I'm
you
a
how he
Black
came
man in
into the
this country.
country.
You think I get preferential treatment because I'm African?
No, you will be considered to be the safe Negro because you're from a different lineage. We're not seen
true.
that
They can't
same way.
even tell if I'm from a different lineage by looking at me.
But
Once you
you're the
start
safe
talking,
Negro
they
too
can.
because you
Hey,
stoked the vision.
I gotta read these super chats. Joshua Stevenson 11334. Thank you for 499. Holla, bro. Stop it. You couldn't claim that European ancestry. Otherwise, you just want to undermine being of African descent because you used to hate yourself. O'Shea Du Jackson, thank you for the 1,000 Kenya shillings. She got a point. JC Inc., thank you for 499. Holla. Do y'all see how FBA's focuses on other black people while more Asians and South Americans apply for government assistance? African Americans stay married and all will be fine.
Okay.
No, we also call out the other ones too. We don't just call out just
No,
the
you
Africans.
don't. We don't hear you calling them out though.
Nobody hears call
Nobody ever mentions Ukrainians. It's a million of them that came over here because of the war. And when they came over here, they got immediate. Not only did they get benefits, they were getting.
Did you hear about Black Americans boycotting Asian?
They were getting Section 8.
Yeah, the U.S.
right away.
Child, the thing is, they gave them that special privilege because they come from war-torn country, and also they agreed to collaborate with the U.S. government against their own country.
And they're white. Let's not forget that. That's part of it too.
And
they
we
white.
all heard about the white man telling you guys before you get to America. We all heard about the speech they give y'all to stay away from Black Americans.
They don't give us no damn speech. What are you talking about, bro?
Maybe not in 2026, but they were doing that.
Y'all never hear Africans speak ill about the colonialists that ravaged their country. Even to this day, they never talk about Unilever.
I do.
They never had nothing bad to say about white people.
We do. Africans experience racism and prejudice too, bro. What are you talking about?
They never have anything to say about white people in America or Africa.
So
when I go to Africa, they love the white man. They give the white man.
They love the white man. They love him over here.
Do you love the white man? Do you love the white man?
The white man is the reason I'm over here. Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton was the reason I'm over here.
Hold on. In Africa, they will serve the white man before they serve their own countrymen. I've seen it. They will serve the white people before they serve their own countrymen.
Look. When they was doing the Civil War in Liberia, when they was running around with hearts, they got it on videos on YouTube. The white man was right there. They was ignoring the white man and just attacking black people.
That's not true. That's not true. Listen. I'm a Liberian. Let me tell you, there was white nurses that was killed. There was a white group who was practicing the Hare Krishna group. They were killed.
I don't believe
you. There were white people who were killed. NGO white people got killed in Liberia. So yeah, they were killed.
Africans literally view the white man closest thing to Jesus Christ and God. I seen it with my own eyes.
I'll tell you. You're partially right.
It's a white man country.
Hold on. You're partially right. But secondly, it's about... Of course I'm right. Listen. It's about economics, right? If I go to Liberia, right, and they know that I'm from the U.S., they treat me differently than other Africans who are there. Why? Because they associate Americans with having money, and that they can give them money, they can give them a nice tip, they can help them, whatever.
So what make you think
it's not only about the race. It's just about the fact that you come from America. It means you have access to American dollars, and you can probably have more money than
you ain't got no power. I mean, you ain't got no power.
You was a Liberian.
You American or not? You don't got no power.
You ain't no American. You a Liberian. You just immigrated over here.
You're not hearing what I said. When you come from America and you have access to U.S.
He's an American citizen.
When you live in America and you go to Africa.
What made you just
when you live in America, you go to Africa. I'm putting everything to you as a child, right? Because you don't have the comprehension skills.
They parade themselves as us all over the world.
And you go to Africa.
He don't want to learn.
They have a name for Liberians who go to Liberia in December for Christmas. They call them the Decembries, right? The girls tend to flock to those guys. The businesses want to do business because they're coming with cash, U.S. dollars in hand. So they treat them with preferential treatment. The white man, it's evident from his face that he's not African. He's from maybe Europe or the United States. So they know probably he has more money to spend in that moment. And they're trying to
get
the preference. So that's a human thing. It's not an African thing.
Africans can play us in movies. They could get close to us, closer than the white man could ever get close to us.
African Americans play Africans, bro.
What are you talking
Morgan
about?
Freeman played Mandela.
Africans
Forrest Whitaker played Idi Amin. What are you talking about, man?
And that's what y'all are their biggest weapons. That's why y'all are their biggest weapons.
I gotta pass the mic. Go ahead, man. Sake.
No, hold on. I didn't go yet. Hold on.
Big Black. Yeah, when you have Big Black, go ahead, Big Black.
Yeah, let
You
me
have to
let me
think
ask
like I'm
that.
gonna go after him. Go ahead.
Okay, the lady that was saying that she said, oh, we're Black Americans, we were Negro, this and that, but she doesn't like the term African American, and she says that the reason why she don't like the term because Africans or immigrants, Black immigrants, could hide behind that term. Let me ask you this, Miss, can't they hide behind Black American too? They can't hide behind Black American. I think you have a disdain for the word African. Why do you have a disdain from the word African? Is the
She has,
lady here?
she has this disdain for African and probably blackness too, like black skin
Oh,
color.
now come on. That is not true. Just because I am critical of the term African, and
What's wrong
I
with the
believe
term?
that we should not have to that African American does not represent our identity. Doesn't mean
What
that I
it
have the
represents it just
same.
as much.
Yo, black. You gotta let her respond.
Okay, all right.
All right. Um, I I am an American citizen. My family has been here for centuries.
That's right.
Why, why do I have to put African? Why do I have to
Come
adopt
on.
African as an when
That's
I'm
right.
American?
That's right.
I just don't get it.
I know
Why
you're
can't
struggling, sister. You're
No,
struggling.
she ain't struggling.
Man,
She's doing just
y'all,
fine.
stop it.
I
Okay,
Because
guys,
we're
hold
defining
on,
ourselves by
guys.
lineage, not
I
by
don't get it.
no
I
country.
but here's
I'm
my
talking.
here's my
Hold on, guys.
issue here.
One second.
No, no, no. Let me finish.
Maya, this is
There
the
are
host talking. Maya, this is the host talking. This is the
Oh,
host
I'm
talking.
sorry. Go ahead.
Maya, this is the host talking. Okay, guys, listen. I want more women to participate. So, y'all, stop interrupting her. Let her talk. Go ahead, Mrs. The floor is yours.
Yeah, here's what I just don't get. There are 47 million Black Americans in the United States, depending on who's doing the count. 5 million of the 47 million are Black immigrants or children of immigrants. Why do 5 million people, why does the minority get to define the majority of Black Americans? I just don't get it. You know, explain that to me. Why can't we show pride in our American heritage and our American contributions here? Why must we claim African? I I have always stated I believe that I have African ancestors. I know there are some FBA who think that they're not African. I've never said that. I I believe I have African ancestors and I am willing to acknowledge that. But I'm American. Why can't I be American? When you place the African in our title, that otherizes us. Okay? Then, it suggests that we are not from here, that we are not American, that we are less than. So that's
That's a
what
good point, though, that you made.
That's
No,
a
it's not a
terrible
good
point.
point.
That's a terrible point.
No,
You
that's
It's
a
got
not a
good
good
point,
Italian
though.
point.
Americans. You got the white
You got
Americans.
Italian Americans. You
Right?
got
You got Mexican
Polish
Americans.
Americans.
Yeah, that's a terrible point.
Because the thing is
So
that we
hold
should
on.
define ourselves by a lineage, not just by
Africa
this
is a lineage.
continent.
You're from
Africa is
Africa.
a lineage.
What are you
We
talking
are
about? Black
And
is
superior.
when you
not
say
black
To
is not a lineage.
Africans,
Italians and
It's the
Polish.
oldest
Let me
lineage in the
finish talking.
world.
Let me
We
finish
are
talking real quick.
superior to a European immigrant.
Let
How
me
you going
finish
to
talking.
compare
I'm
us to a
responding.
European immigrant?
You taking my turn. I'll finish talking. Okay, so basically, you just don't like the word African, right? Because and then you said that the 5% chose the word African. No, they didn't. We have the AME Church. Even when you all point to Jesse Jackson, which he probably popularized the term, but Jesse Jackson is what you all call FBA. So no, the 5% didn't choose the word African, right? But at the same time, you're quick to just accept the term Black American when these 5% could easily fall into the title Black American. It's like it's just that you don't like the term African. Well, what about the African Americans or the Black Americans who do like the term African American? Do they have a say, or
No,
is this
you are mischaracterizing what I said.
I'm not
What I said
mischaracterizing
was
that?
there are 5 million people in this country who are Black immigrants or children of immigrants.
Right.
Why does the 5 million get to decide who the other
They didn't get to
42
decide.
million are?
When did they get to decide? That's what I'm
no,
talking
you
about right there.
actually,
Right
you
there.
are here.
Right
No, you
there.
are
They
here.
Every
didn't.
black person from a diaspora don't define themselves by African. They say nationality first, and then they put
You
that.
are demanding
Well,
that
I'm
we
saying,
Listen to
well, I'm
what she's
telling
saying.
label
Listen to what she's saying. Go ahead.
You are demanding that we retain the African label. If we do not, then we are we're practicing self-hatred, and that's not the case. All we want is that we are American.
Well, here's the thing.
Americans.
Let me just say this. Here's the thing. The thing is what you're excluding is the we, because I'm part of the we you're talking about, right? Black American, right? I could trace my ancestry to slavery. A lot of we like the term African American. So why do you have the right to, when you want to change our name? But it's a lot of us that don't want to change the term African American that descend from slavery. Would be on paper, would be considered,
because that flattens us into this broad term of African.
Go ahead.
So let me say this just really quickly. The
It's
reason
too
that
broad of a term.
the reason Jesse Jackson didn't name us African American. We were using that name African to describe us in the 1700s with the African Episcopal Methodist Episcopal Church and other things you can find out that we were using the word African. Before that, I'm from the 80s, like Renaissance time, Black studies, Afrocentrism in the 80s. And we as college kids were saying we're changing our Black Student Union to the African Black Student Union. And so this was the conversation going around campuses in the 80s. And, curriculum and Afrocentrism, all of that. So we thought we was changing it, but little did I was corrected by an elder telling me that they were using African, not everybody, but people were using the word to describe us as a people. So the 5 million people that are here did not influence us to change our name to African. We simply said that we are American people because we come from the nation of America. We are citizens of America. We have a history here, and we have African ancestry. So that's what makes sense. Is not a color black to describe us, but a continent because we don't know what specific ethnic groups we come from. So we're going to use African to describe our ancestry, our ancestry. And then our nationhood is American. It's very simple. African American or American African. That is
Genetically,
very
we're
simple.
African. Genetically, most of us are of African descent. That
It
does
was
not
a show.
mean.
It was a show that Dynas did. I didn't participate in. It was about Abraham Tritori was like getting rid of Shira, whatever that law is, Shia law. And then he said, the religion should serve us. We shouldn't serve the religion, right?
Sharia
I think Sharia law, whatever it is, but I listened to the show. But I think the same should be true for African American. It should serve us. We shouldn't serve that moniker. Now, the only way that moniker can be actually true is if we have free reign in Africa like we have in America. If we don't have like citizenship in every state and be able to own and have something else.
Africans have free reign in America?
We are half baked. We are half baked.
Africans don't have free reign in America.
We have more freedom in America than we have in Africa. We have more land. We have more heritage.
Simply who we are as a people.
If that moniker was to serve us, we would have citizenship. We will have freedom. We will have access to their
Dynas have multiple African citizenship. Dynas has multiple African citizenship. Ask him.
I'm saying us as a people should have the same access to Africa that we have to America. Then
you do.
The African American moniker.
You tell you how to do it.
Hold on, but
Dynas is one man.
It's water under the bridge for you because you don't want to go to Africa. So what does it matter?
Thank you.
I mean, as far as a want, that's just an emotion, forget that.
Lord.
A desire of want. But I'm saying, if that moniker was to be fulfilled.
You have said several times you have no desire to go to Africa. So you gotta get on matter. It don't
I
matter.
mean, regardless
It
of
don't
what you
matter.
say, and I say I don't want to do, I'm
No,
saying if
it
that
don't matter.
moniker is attached to me as far as African American, if it's going to be true, we must have something in Africa. We must have political access, economic
That's a fact.
Dude,
access,
Liberia will give you
power.
all the access, man.
That's
They
just
put
a
fast track
tiny
to
country that they
citizenship.
stole from us. I'm talking about the
We
Okay,
whole
got to get the
continent.
but
politics right in
did
America
you look
first.
up the law?
Why are we trying to do politics in
So,
Africa
so the
when we
lady
need to do
said
Did you
she
look up
politics
the
has
in
laws in
America?
questions
Liberia?
regarding this
Did you look at
to
the laws in
Dynas.
Liberia? Did you look up the laws in
Forget
Liberia? Yes or no?
Liberia. I'm talking
Did
about
you
the
look
lady
up the
asked
no
Dynas questions about the
hold on.
continent.
No, because you sat here and you said that they won't give us no land. And did you know, since you're a foundational Black American, do you know that you have roots in Liberia? You get
Listen,
access to land and
Liberia was
fast track
actually started
citizenship?
by Black Americans, so that's a
Okay, but
done
could
deal. Y'all don't robbed
you
us of that.
just sat
Yeah, the
here,
American
you
Colonial
just sat
Society. Yeah,
here,
that's true.
I'm talking about the
sat here
continent,
and you just
Africa.
said why they won't give us land, and I just told you in
I'm talking
Liberia they'll
about the
give you all the land.
continent, the African Union, the ECOWAS, the AES, the continent.
You said how come they won't fast track citizenship and Liberia will give you citizenship within 3 to 4
Forget
years?
Liberia. Y'all done destroyed that country. I'm talking about the
Okay.
continent.
So now they destroyed
The
it now.
They
continent. I said
Is that
we
right?
have a
You
moniker
just said
called
you wanted
African
citizenship. You
American.
just said you wanted citizenship, and I just
Listen,
gave you
listen,
the
listen,
key.
listen.
That doesn't
Y'all
sound
just
genuine,
y'all just have the
and it
confirmation. I'm
sounds
saying
very myopic. You sound
in
like
Africa
you're
does
giving a
not
America,
make it
myopic
easy
listen,
for the African
in
Americans to
question.
come
America,
back to
Well, hold on,
we
Africa.
have
Dennis, can I speak?
access to
Dennis,
50
can I speak?
states. We have 50
And
states. We
and
have
we'll find a
access to the
reason not to
economy,
do
No, no.
something
the
rather than
schools.
Dennis,
That's the
can I talk?
American part of African American.
Image
But
is
in
bro.
Africa, we don't have
You're a
anything.
habitual complainer,
Dennis, can I
bro.
speak? Dennis,
You
can I speak?
complain habitually, man.
Habitual
Stop it.
complainer.
Yeah.
To mention we don't have
Guys,
nothing in Africa is the truth.
I gotta pass the mic. But you are a habitual complainer. Who wants to speak?
I ain't no
Me,
complainer.
my
Get out of
side.
here.
I didn't get to speak. It's me, man. Sec. I didn't get to speak.
Go ahead, man. Say my bad. Go ahead,
All
man.
right.
Say.
So look, peace and love to the chat, right? I just want to answer two questions, right? I want to answer the other dude who was saying, "Yo, man, when Africans get over here, man, they get all the benefits, man." It's not just Africans, my man. It's Latinos. It's whites. All right. I'll give you a prime example, right? You have a thing called a credit score. You have a thing called Social Security, right? What happens is you live in the States, you get to use that, get to apply for credit cards and loans and stuff, right? Some people mess up their credit, some people don't. So when these immigrants come in the country, they get what is called a TPN, right? With this TPN, everybody can look it up, this TPN, you're pretty much starting from a fresh slate. So you have no credit card, no loans, no nothing. So when they apply for certain things, it gets granted to them. Not all of them all the time, but those are the things that they get. And as far as for business loan, you cannot get a business loan if you don't have proof of income, because I'm a business consultant. I do consulting on the side. I help people get business lines of credit. In order for you to get a business loan, you have to show your income taxes. If you don't show your income taxes, you will not get what is called a business loan. You might get lines of credit, but you will not get a business loan. Okay, that's the first question. And answer M's question about immigrants taking the jobs. Listen, dude, you are aware that they got white, for example, the movie Lincoln was played by a white British man. What's that dude's name that played in Marvel? I forgot the dude's name. But he also played in Batman. He's also a white British man.
Christian
Okay.
Bale.
Okay, there you go. He's a white British man. Okay. So your issue is you should take the beef with the employer, not with the employee. Okay. If you want change, there's nothing stopping you from having your own studios. For example, 50 Cent, Curtis Jackson bought a facility in Louisiana. He has a thing called Unit Studios. So
Hey,
if you really
sec, if I can interject, that
go
takes
ahead.
too much work. It's easier to complain versus do what you're suggesting. I brought that
I
up
know.
before. It takes too much work. That's why they
You're
just
right.
complain
You're
about
right.
it.
I'm just saying that because they're just. I mean, I'm not saying all, but M is making an excuse. He's getting mad at the employee and not getting mad at the employer, which is crazy. Like, for example, like you remember the movie, the Fred Hampton movie with Daniel Kaluuya, right?
You're right.
Right. So when he auditioned for the movie, guess who picked him? The family picked him, right? And mind you, Daniel Kaluuya didn't say nothing about FBAs at all. In fact, he praised them. In fact, he studied Fred Hampton to the T. They still give that man a hard time playing the role. They're like, no, man, that should have been an FBA. What's up? Granted, okay. But guess what? The family members went and they picked that man to play that part. So, like, again, if you have an issue, take the issue with the employer, not with the employee. The employee is just a contractor. He just applies and he gets the position. That's all I'm saying. All right. Who's next?
Hello.
Yeah, I mean, man, since you say you do business loan consulting, what would qualify besides that TPN? What would qualify an African more so than an African American? I would say this right. It's a question, but let me just give a comment because people forget credit history. You could bring your credit score up to a 600, and the African immigrant just start off at a 600. But your
Hmm.
credit history has delinquencies, it has collections in there, and all of those things would bring, would probably have a banker or somebody who's doing a loan to be more apprehensive on your, application than somebody who doesn't have the same history as you, even though you have the same credit score. Well, you could
Right.
go ahead and speak on it.
No, no, I was just saying because let's be clear, I don't do personal credit because that's what you're asking me. I don't know if you probably asking me about personal credit, but as far as the business credit side, you got to build a thing called business trade lines, and once you get those trade lines, you'll be able to get the access to credit. But again, with as far as starting fresh, right? When applying for lines of credit, because again, like if you have nothing on your credit score and you fresh out, you're gonna get approved. You know what I'm saying? And let me be clear, this is not financial advice. I'm not giving financial advice. I'm just saying from what I observed. So this don't take my word for it. This is FYI and stuff. But I don't know, Elvis, let me ask you a question. I don't know. For me, growing up in the neighborhood, right? I knew females who had kids, you know, and I don't know if anybody could agree on this chat,
You're
but they
going
had
exactly
used,
where I'm going. A lot of
yeah.
people,
So
mama
so
messed
they
up their
had they
credits.
right. They had used their kids. They went and they messed up
Put
their
the light
kids'
bill in their
credit.
name,
Yeah. Thank you. Yes. Yes. So
and that's the issue too. So when African Americans grow up and they had a history, not a lot of them, but some of them, they, 12, 13 years ago, your mama put the light bill in her name. She owed the company $400. She never settled. It went to collection. That's on your credit score,
right.
you know. So all of those things will impact you. That the immigrants are not better than you, bro. When they see me, they see a black person. They do. They don't see me as somebody that's better than you. They
But
definitely don't.
they have done experiments or whatever they call it, where they've taken two people, all things being equal, and these two people went to go get loans. One was uh, other than black, and then you had black. And in these cases, the other was the one who got the loan. The black person didn't get the loan. And black people will tell you that work in the industry, that they've seen it themselves. They've seen them discriminate against Black Americans in terms of getting loans for businesses, and I think that's messed up.
And
Yeah.
reparations will fix that.
But Shy. But this to be clear though, right? It's very difficult unless you have documentation of taxes and stuff too. It is very very difficult to get a business loan. They just don't give you the business loan just cause.
Well, I
You
mean,
know, because
this was like a sting, not a sting, but it was a kind of stage to see how the institution would deal with these two people that had the same kind of background and who they would give the loan to. But you hear other people's. I've heard people who work for banks say that they've seen it happen. So it's not just the fact that you have all your dots, everything dotted and crossed.
Yeah, because
Um,
sometimes there are little nuances like ability to repay. They look at that, you know. They look at sometimes it's just the confidence, though, the way you speak to the person. So little things could determine if you get accepted or denied for a loan.
Well, and historically, right, we know that they would deny us loans. So
no,
this is,
absolutely.
yeah.
They
So
also does things
that
and
history doesn't just disappear.
I see the same
And
type
what's
of thing.
interesting though is that they will single us out more so than other folks. And what is that all about? Because then that opens up a bigger question of, well, why? What is this attack? What is this warfare going on, keeping Black Americans from building business and building
But
institutions?
Shah, don't you think that happened to African immigrants because they
But
share black
but
skin with African Americans?
but
Not so
Shy,
much.
Not about black skin.
Not
It's about
Shy,
many.
necessarily. Not
Shy, you want to
necessarily. Not
Shy,
necessarily.
Shy, you want to hear something? I'm gonna tell you a funny story, right? I remember one time somebody hit my car. I was in his hood. I'm not gonna mention the name of the hood though, but I was there, right? So I flagged down the sheriff. So when I flagged down the sheriff, he stopped. He gave me like an attitude and stuff, right? So he asked me for my license. Yo, when I gave this dude my license and he saw the town that I lived in, yo, this dude did like a whole 180. He started calling me Mister. He started saying, "Hey, what can I do?" Yo, this dude went around the block looking for the dude who hit my car, all because of the town that I lived in. I did not live in that Pacific area.
Or did you live in PG County?
Huh?
Did you live in PG County?
No, I didn't live in that county. But I was just saying that it's just like I got treated different because of the town that I live in.
I seen those same type of things with home appraisals also.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Home appraisals was they have a black couple
But I
and a
mean,
white
just
couple.
in general, business is warfare,
Yeah.
and
So
they've always done things to attack
if you're
our
alluding to
businesses.
racism, that's the point that I'm making. I don't think you guys should do that to us Africans. Because even though we don't
No,
complain about it, but we do experience racism too based on our skin color.
yeah, no, I believe it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but it's not
definitely.
on the same level as Black American
Why?
racism.
Why
that
would you
we
say
face.
that? I mean, that's why I don't understand. You think the white men like us more than they like you?
They will deal with you way better than they would deal with us because with us they know that.
I mean, it
No,
depends.
that's factual. We can prove this.
If you get pulled over in a
I
car,
went to New York City when I got
Y'all are
pulled
looking
over
at it on
doing
a
stop and
surface level. We're
frisk.
talking about
Listen,
you know, it's deeper than just skin color.
I went to New York City when they had stop and frisk, and guess what? Just because I had a different last name, that dude did not care. He pulled my ass out the car and searched me from head to toe and searched the car. So what are you
They will
talking
profile
about?
us the same way they profile you based on the skin color.
That is not the
That's
same
not
thing.
anecdotal. It's not anecdotal.
No, it's not, and that's
No,
how
it's
we're
not
equal.
anecdotal.
It's an
That's how we're
isolated incident
equal.
of them.
But for
They
whatever
are not.
reason, on the
They don't
business
endorse the
level,
same things we endorse.
it
So
appears to
you're,
be different.
y'all are trying to use anecdotes to try to
I told you about
justify
now
your
I told you
point
about
or
my
try to
experience.
make
Now
a
it's
point, and
anecdotal.
it's not
Now it's
sticking.
anecdotal because you just sat here and said that it don't happen. It's a lie, dude.
A white man
It
see
don't
a
happen on
black
the grass.
person,
It don't
a
happen on
black
the same
African, a
level
black American the
So are
same,
you
brother.
saying to me because someone gets pulled over, his name is Matumbo, the cop is gonna say, oh, because you're Matumbo, well, you're not one of them, what's gonna let you go? Have a nice day. You think that happens?
To some degree, it probably happens.
Ah, man.
Oh my God.
Bull crap, man.
Probably to some degree.
You just think you're the worst. You think you're the worst victim of white racism, right? Not even the Africans come to your level of victimhood.
I mean, that even happens to Mexicans and Dominicans and anybody that's not white. That happens to them.
See, when y'all deal with
more
that, when
so.
y'all Africans come here and deal with that, y'all want us to be side by side with y'all. But when we tell y'all about the shit,
What
what
is it?
y'all
They
do
deal
is
with
that
it or
y'all.
they don't deal with it? First you said they don't deal with it.
Well,
Now
I'm
you say
saying
they do
from
deal
an
with it.
isolated incident perspective, like from the anecdotes that y'all brought up, y'all don't ever come in solidarity with us when we say that we're going through that same thing. Y'all will sit here and use that Afro pessimism talking point type nonsense to us every time we say the Afro pessimist. Oh, y'all not gonna get this. Why y'all just complaining? Y'all just talking about the white man.
Hold on, let me respond to this gentleman over here, right? You are aware that when these immigrants apply for certain visas, they can't do certain things, right? You know that if they do certain things, whatever, and they get a certain charge, they get sent back. That's one of the reasons why you don't see them in the street. Now, if they're second generation, if they're third generation, then yeah, they probably be in the streets with you. But the first immigrant Africans ain't gonna participate in that, and that's just a fact. Because I'll give a prime example. What was the dude? I think his name was from Congo when he did the Palestine protest in New York City. What happened to him? He just shipped it right back to Congo.
Trump said, certain people on student visas can't protest against the U.S. government.
Yeah, they don't think about that kind of stuff. That doesn't cross, but you have to bring it up so that they learn that that's kind of stuff y'all have to deal with that we don't think about. We don't know that y'all have to deal with that.
Certain people
y'all are
on
trying to
green
play
cards.
the oppression Olympics with us. That's what y'all are trying to do. Y'all trying to sit here and try to say, "Oh, we're more oppressed than y'all are." No, we are the ones
You
that
are
are.
playing the oppression Olympics right now.
Y'all are trying to play the oppression Olympics because y'all want to act like y'all have it worse off than us.
You just sat here. You just said why didn't the protest? I just answered your question. Now it's the oppression Olympics. Are you hearing yourself?
When he brought it up,
Y'all are trying to say, Africans go through way worse than we. That's basically what you're.
No, we never said that. We never said that. We just say the white man is racist to us the same he's racist to you.
It's not the same. It's not on the same level.
Why would you say that? How do you know that?
It's not on the same level. We've been here longer with white people than y'all have been with white people.
So let me ask you a question. What do you mean not on the
y'all
same
just
level?
got here. We've been here.
Hold on. What do you mean not on the same level? Can you explain?
Because, well, you already know chattel slavery to begin with, and all the other forms of
that's
oppression.
Historical. We're talking about right now. You and I.
Yeah, even to this point, like you think that white supremacy is going anywhere?
No,
you
that's not what I'm
think that like
saying, bro. If a white racist sees you and sees me, I don't know how you look, but I'm a black, I'm a black, presenting person, a dark skinned person. He's gonna show his implicit biases. He's gonna show his
I
racism
mean, yo, like you
towards me, the
are
same way he
like
was to
hold
you.
on, hold on, so hold up. You are aware that, for example, the Philip Scott show, he covered an African immigrant that was in Georgia that got lynched. You are aware of that though, right? Right?
Wow.
Did they care? Did they care that where he was from? They just hung him because he was black. You
Wow.
are aware of that though, right?
But how much does that happen compared to Black Americans though?
No,
Just on
we're
Well,
not
based on the
saying.
from your
sheer
perspective.
numbers, brother, based on the population size, you're way more than we are. So you're going to be affected more by sheer numbers.
It's
The
wrong with
only thing that
knowledge,
I've
right?
seen where I think there's been a preferential treatment, and I don't really know why, is in when it comes to stuff like business loans, that kind of thing. Really,
You really think so, Shy? I mean, I might have to look into it.
yeah,
I'm not sure.
yeah, I do, and I
Why
just
why don't you think that there
and
are
and and and,
a
and
lot of
that and
black
that's not just
businesses that
Africans
exist
though.
in the
That
black
has to
community?
deal with people from India, people from Mexico, people from Dominican
Well, because
Republic.
when you buy a home, right? There's a whole process you got to go through. Sometimes you talk to a consultant, they try to tell you how you can help build your credit score to that particular number. They might help you. Make sure you pay up some old debts or some
But
old.
wait a minute, you keep saying the same thing as if I'm not saying all things being equal. I
That's what
mean,
And
I'm
here's
saying.
how I
So I
can
don't I
prove
don't
you
know
that
got to
why.
they get
qualify.
more
You got to
But from
because
qualify.
Nigerians
my
on average have way
experience,
more wealth than
Yeah,
Black
you got to
Americans.
you go
qualify.
through you go through the process, and I
Yeah.
don't know how African Americans do it when they go and do it. They
I
just go
mean,
to the
it's just
banks.
that we
They
have
don't do any
less.
kind of background research or preparation
Yeah,
before you go
no,
there.
bro. It's just, yeah. And you know what? You can tell some of that through the fact that of the amount of businesses that we have. Because a lot of times black folks they're at a place where they can get a loan, they've got their credit up, they've got steady income, they've
But how many
done all the
employees can
things
they hire?
they've done all
How
the
many
things they're
employees
supposed
can
to
they hire
do.
on average?
Wait a minute. So
Well, your
now they're
business has
trying
to
to
grow
go
to
get a
hire
small
more
business loan,
employees.
Yo,
and they don't get the small business loan, and they have all the things that a Mexican has, and they don't get it, or somebody from Africa has, and they don't
But
get it.
is there a plug with the Mexican that you don't know about? Maybe the Mexican uses somebody else and they go and co-sign for them to have an established business.
Well,
Is
let's
there
say
things
that
like
a
that that's
black
going
person
on?
does that, though. All things being equal, we tend to not get it, and you can see the reflection of that in black American businesses. I'm in New
I
They
don't I
York.
said
don't know.
over
I don't
I'm
know.
in New
I don't I
90%
York.
don't
of
have
Black
the
American
information on the
businesses.
shelf,
I
so
give
I
you an
can't.
example. I'm in New York. I'm looking for soul food in Queens, New York. Do you know I could not find one soul food? My friend for my birthday took me to this restaurant. It was the only. He said he thinks it's the only soul food restaurant in Queens, New York. I go to the Haitian and the Guyanese, and I love the food. I go there and eat, but I just want some African American food, and that was just one. Now there are other places I found later down the line. There are other places, but those are in mostly in Harlem. I'm finding that they're mostly in Harlem
Well, there's an explanation
and
for it, right,
Brooklyn
Sean?
and Brooklyn. Well, there's a lot of
Gentrification. A
African
lot of people
Americans
selling their
that live
properties
in
and leaving, going
Queens.
south.
There's a lot of African Americans that live in Queens. Why aren't there African American restaurants?
Everybody can't do a business, Sean. A lot of people don't have the
But
acumen for
that's
business.
my point, though, is that you can see the reflection of that, and then you hear about people going and getting loans, and like I'm like asking folks who do this, well, did you do all the stuff you're supposed to do? Yeah, I did this. I just they're just racist, and I was thinking, well, no, maybe there's something to it. But as you begin to look at the amount of businesses that we own, and you begin to see that there's a lot of black folks
I'll
that are
tell you this,
doing the
right,
right
Shy.
thing.
It's a bit of a secret, but I'll tell you, right. So what some Africans do, it's not a lot, but some of them do it. So say an African has property back home in his home country, and he comes to the United States, and he has a community of people that can lend money. So you might have, a group like sometimes you have the Susu group, or you have a fund group from your community. You can put your property back home up for collateral to get loans, quote unquote business loans from people within your communities. So
Hmm.
some people have deeds to their lands or their property back home.
Yeah, and
So
we
they
have
can.
we have property too.
No, I'm saying that's within our communities, right? So if you see a
Okay, that's
guy,
what you guys do. That makes a difference.
so,
Why we don't get
some
the loans and y'all do get the loans.
no, I'm just telling you that some Africans that you see start a business and you wonder how they have the money to start a business. They
No,
might
I don't
be
wonder that. They work hard.
No, you know,
Africans,
I know some of
they
the other
come
brother
here,
who
they
was
work
making the point.
hard. Okay, so then now I know an extra thing that they do to be able to, you know, have
Yeah,
collateral. They do this.
sometimes
That's good
they
to
got to
know.
do that, you know, to have that collateral and get that loan up
Yeah.
front rather than going
No,
through a regular
we got
bank.
a problem in this country with these folks, and one of the things I say that we need to do is we need to pool our monies, and you know, Claude Anderson called it group economics, but
True.
I just say that you know, it's 40 million, 50 million of us. If half of us put a couple of dollars a month in one fund, that at the end of the year we would have a substantial amount of money in which we could do some basic things as a people. And we have to start thinking like that. And we have
I
to be
mean,
organized nationally
So in
or
other words, you're trying
locally.
to override reparations by saying we should put our money together,
No, no, it's
pool it
not
together.
override because we can still
That sounds like an
continue to put.
override.
how
No.
but no, you
How
can
does this
do
sound
both
like
things at the
override?
same time,
Override. What the
right?
fuck?
You can do
No, we
both
can
Because
things
you
at
still
said
the
put
pull
same
the
time.
pressure. We can
resources.
still put
We
political
got a new person
pressure.
on the panel. Maybe they're trying to speak. I think
Yeah.
that's Dang.
We
Maybe.
can still put pressure for reparations, but I'm saying we can't wait for motherfucking reparations. We've got to organize locally, regionally, and nationally and begin to do our own things. Put grocery stores in our food deserts. We can do that with the first year of money.
But do you know how much it costs to start a grocery store?
Yeah, I did the numbers. If we put $10 a month in a pool, we would have enough money to put in a population of 30,000, let's say 30. If we broke up all black communities, which it would be hard to do because we don't all live together, but if we were to break up every, you know, black communities, 40 million of us, into 30,000 population, which is the community I came from, is 30,000 people. So I use that as a scale, and we would be able to have something like 1,560 something grocery stores in that would cover all of the population of black folks. And then if you break it down to how much money we would have for each of those grocery stores, it'd be something like $6 million for each to build those grocery stores from ground up all the way up. So we
And
would
what
have
about
enough
those
money to
federal
do that
contracts?
in
What about the
1
federal
year.
contracts attached to that as well,
So the
to
next year we could
protect
do something different. We could
protect
start
them?
a car company, or you know, fund a bank where we could get our loans, or create a super PAC so that if we want to vote and we want to participate in the political process, we have a super PAC where we could
Yeah,
pay
It's
yeah.
our
more than just putting
politicians or
money up.
whatever
It's
that
also
super
having
PAC
the
does.
protections
We
attached
could
to
be
those
doing
businesses.
that, and we could be putting pressure on the government and these states for reparations as well, because now we have monies to for a team of lawyers and whatever other type of shit we need to do. We have to put our money together. We can't just sit around and wait.
And where did people get that number about having $2 trillion in buying power? Where did that number come from? Because a lot of people have been spreading that myth around for so long about we got all this buying power and we just don't use the money right. Where did that come from?
You
Where
said
does
where
that
does
really
it
come
come
from?
from?
Yeah, the whole thing of like, you know, saying we got $2 trillion in buying power, so we got money, we just don't know how to use it. Like when people say that type of nonsense, and I think Dr. Jared Ball said the reason why people say that is because it's a marketing phrase for companies to better target their ad revenue, so that way they can get people to believe that it's because they're using the money the wrong way, without understanding that like no other group measures their power through consumption. And I don't understand why we do shit like that. We need to dispel all these myths and start to look at real solutions and start to get down to the nitty gritty of what we need to do as a community, instead of just doing all this, feel good, surface level nonsense. Now, of course, those things might work here and there, but those are band-aid solutions. Those are not in-depth solutions that are going to precisely get everything done, make us whole. We need something to make us whole, instead of just doing all this like, okay, well, we're just going to put a little money here and then put a little money there. That's fine, but that's not going to get to the nooks and crannies of the issue, which is systemic racism that we're dealing with. That's not going to get to the nitty and gritty of it. So it's like, what is your solution outside of just saying, okay, we're just going to do this, we're just going to do that? Like, what is another solution that you have besides just what you just said?
Do you have a solution?
I think we should look at it from a more political approach and right the wrong of Black Americans, instead of just being so quick to just say that, well, it's just one thing or whatever. It's like, it takes more than just only the money. It takes more than just the money with the solution. We really have to show up and vote for the people we want to represent us.
I mean, you can vote whoever you want to, but if you ain't putting money behind them, you're not gonna get nothing passed. Like, look
I
what
mean, yeah, we
happened.
can lobby the government. Yeah, we can lobby, certain people that we want to represent us. But the thing is that how many black people do you think would actually be willing to put the money up to get?
So that's it. So that's the thing. You will have to go rally, and like Shah said, to get a super PAC and fund them. I mean, look, Asian community do
Because
it.
right now, Black Americans don't trust neither party. They don't trust in the
I mean, that's what
Democrat
I'm
nor the
saying.
Republican.
If you don't trust either party, you either put your own candidate or vote down ballot. Those are the only two things you guys could do. I mean, unless put your own candidates up to run.
I mean, fair enough.
Right?
But anybody else got anything to say?
Oh, shut.
Okay, wait a minute. My thing is messed up, so it'll click off. Let me respond really quickly and just say this: that yes, you have a very good point about we have to address these other issues that are what are they called? They're aggressive issues that work against us. It is a war that we're in. So, white supremacy and racism. If we're going to stay in this country, we got to deal with bigotry, and we've got to deal with racism and white supremacy. If we're not willing to do with that, then we should leave this country and go to Africa and deal with it from there, because it's going to it is affecting Africa. White supremacy is affecting Africa. And so whatever other things that we have to deal with, I think eventually we'll, as generations go, we'll fit in, assimilate into the group with our own little twist wherever we are. And the fight will be on the continent. I think we'll have a better chance fighting on the continent than staying here. But if we decide to stay here, then yes, we can. We've got to deal with the politics. But the economics is the thing we're not dealing with, because we are dealing with the politics to some extent right now. We're not dealing with the economics in terms of coming together and putting our stuff together. Trust is a big issue. For us to put $10 a month in a fund, you're going to have to do some educational stuff with the people on a mass level, because I'm Indian and I'm not African American, and the name of the fund is African American Fund, or I'm Hebrew Israelite, or I'm from the Divine Nine, and I don't want to put no. See, we got all these different divisions and factions, and we've got to come together. And that's the same thing in Africa. The same thing in Africa. They divided us in Africa. They're dividing us here. And we've got to realize that we are one people, and we've got to ally with the Caribbeans and the Africans and the Brazilians and the Colombians. We've got to ally with those people, because that will make us stronger economic and politically. We've got to
I have a question
have
for you right
allies.
quick. Okay, so you're advising Black Americans to move to Africa, but then the same people that come from those places are coming here. So if they're coming to America and everything like that, why would we
My
go
man.
over there to those places?
My
That
man,
has
What?
hold on. Do you know how many Africans come to America? Are you aware how many Africans come to America?
I'm not saying a
No,
lot
I'm
of
just
them do,
asking you a
but
question. But are you aware how many? It's literally only maybe 4 to 6 million Africans that come to America, and the majority of those groups is either Nigerian, Kenyan, or Somali. The rest are minority. They're not even more than 100,000. They're less. So when you say they come in here, a small minority comes here in the U.S. Because if you
but
go
it's a
and check
growing
out,
population though. That's
okay,
coming
but like
to the United States.
that's what I'm saying. Out of all the groups in Africa, the only group here that's the majority here in this country are Nigerians. They're almost 1 million in the diaspora here alone in America. Everyone else is a minority.
Yeah, but they're still African, so they still fall within the
All
African
right, but you're
group.
making it seem that everyone's coming over here, and that's just the case. You are aware that when you apply for visas, there's a thing called a rejection rate, right? How many rejection visa applications you think that occurs every day that people apply?
I mean, of course, it's under a Trump administration. Of
Right,
course, that's
but
going to
no,
happen.
it's not
But
just a
what
Trump amendment. No, it's not just a Trump. It's a Democrat too. And what I'm saying, and guess what? When you apply for those visas, guess what? You have to pay each time. And imagine there's people who've been trying for 15, 20 years to get over here, and they keep getting rejected.
Messick, that's not what he's trying to say. That's not what he's trying to say. You're missing his his point, like what he's exactly
No,
trying to
I
say.
hear what he's trying to say because he's
Yeah,
making
but
it seem that
you
before
taking
when
it.
it comes.
No, you
No,
taking
no,
it to
no,
a
no,
different
no, no, no,
direction.
man, no. Super Africa, listen to me. I'm just trying to explain to him the process, but I get what he's saying.
No, that's not exactly what he's trying to say. From what the way I see it, that's not exactly what he's trying to say. To me, what he's saying is, if Africa is so good, why is Africans leaving Africa to come to America then? Because
Exactly. That's
Shah
exactly what
told
I was
them.
trying to say.
So
Shah
so
told
if
them.
that's so
No,
if that's the
you gotta
same, hold on, Super Africa, hold on. With
Messick,
that
you have to
same,
explain it
hold
to
on, I'm gonna
him.
let you continue. Wait, hold on. With that same logic, right? Why do Europeans still come to America? Why do the Chinese still come in America?
You can't answer that question the same way. You can't, Messick, man. Come on now, Messick, man. You can't, you can't provide him that answer. You're not being
But no,
fair to
this
him.
is an African and Black American conversation. This is not.
you should tell him what's the reason why. Just like how.
No, of course I know the reason why. I can tell you the reason why because they
Yeah, go ahead.
go, they
Yeah, do your thing.
they
Yeah, do your thing. And after
they
that, I can
stabilize
say
these
something.
countries. Like I give you a prime example.
But why
The
would they go to a
AES.
country that destabilized them? Why would they move to a country that destabilized their country? It
Because
makes
they
no
will
sense.
go like, for example, they like what they did to Somalia, and what the
Hello. Damn.
Did we lose him?
Messick, are
same
you
thing for
there?
other
Or you got
countries.
a phone
But
call?
what I'm saying is that, like I said, because it's not like, listen, if people had a choice, they wouldn't come over here. But unfortunately, there's certain entities that go, they stabilize these countries, and they make it short to the point that they can't sustain themselves, and then they use those people to come over here as a workforce. Because one of the reasons is that unfortunately, America's known to use a cheap labor force, and that's just a fact.
Exactly.
Okay. Let me from my view, right? This is what I would say to Black people that are Americans, right? Why would you go to Africa and invest in Africa when so-called Africans are trying to come to America? Which is, it's a logic question. It's a respectful question as well. Just like me, when I go back home, right, in Africa, right, there's some people that wants to be in America. I tell them exactly, if you have the opportunity to invest in your own country, because because the issue with Africa is the access to capital compared to America. Like one of the greatest things you could say about this country, right, is the access to capital. You could say all these other things, right? But if you have opportunity to get access to capital and work with a group of people, there's plenty of things you could do. Plenty of things. The sky's the limit. Because it's usually like egotistics, or somebody wants to sell to a white man. You understand me, right? But overall, the access to capital, it's not there in Africa. Everything you do in Africa, right, is physically cash. That means you save that money up, you build your house, you bought your car. So that's very different compared to in this country where you could just walk to a bank, you provide certain details, and then they give you access to money, and it depends what you do with it, and then eventually, you climb up, right? Why would I tell Black people from America to invest in Africa, right?
And
Okay,
plus,
look.
they be doing scams too. Like it's a lot of reports
No,
of
hold on,
the Africans that be scamming.
hold on, my brother. Scam is everywhere. Like the
I
United
mean, it's
States is a
everywhere, but
scam
it
country.
happens a lot in
No,
those African nations.
no. But we here to learn, man. You can't say Africans are scammers, Americans are not scammers.
No, everybody. Yeah, I understand what your
Hold on,
point is. I'm just saying that, like,
no. The medical system in America, it is the most scamming system around the entire world. The medical system in this country right here. You act like you don't know
I
that,
agree
man.
with you.
Let's
I
be
agree with
mature.
you with
Let's
Real
be
that.
mature,
estate,
man.
real
Yeah, you
estate
die
scam in
because
New
of
York.
scammers. Yes, you die because the system is a scamming system. Let's be fair now. So this is what I
So
was
you
saying
say
to
I'm
y'all,
here
right?
because of the scamming system of America.
No, that's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is people die because of the medical system is a scamming system. People
I
die
mean, of
every
course,
year. People
America's a
die
big
every
scam. I
month.
agree with you. I'm not saying it's
Yeah,
not
but
true.
So
It
then
is
why
true.
you bring it up then?
But
why?
I'm just saying,
Why?
I'm saying in
No.
terms
You
of
see,
investing in
that's the
Africa,
point.
there's no
No.
Yeah,
guarantee that the
but you
business.
gotta watch it.
Oh
You
my
gotta.
God.
Yeah, you got to do your
Man,
research. You just
people
Right.
can't
buy
go
houses. Hold on,
Just don't
People,
invest in any African
listen,
country and just be like, oh, okay, I'll
I'm
just
trying
go
to
over there just because.
But that's why you have to make connections, man.
Hold on. People buy brand new houses in this country. It's a fucking scam. The plumbing system don't work. the roofing don't work. You understand me, right? The
Subprime
structure don't work.
loans.
Brand new houses. A
Subprime
scam.
loans
Come
and the
on,
whole
man. So try
economy
to
crashed.
scam me to
That
Africa,
was a
man.
scam.
Yeah, that's exactly what you're trying to do. You're trying to start scamming to like particular Africans, man. People buy houses in this country. I see it. Complaining. Come on, man.
So you think Nigerians aren't known for scamming?
I'm done. You are American. I'm African. Leave me alone. That's it. Beat the white man in
So
your
are you
country.
saying
Beat the white man
that
in your
certain
goddamn
Africans
country.
do not
Well,
Beat the
scam?
white man
What
in your
about those
you're
goddamn
love
country.
scams they be
Beat
doing?
the
They be
white
doing
man in
love
your
scams,
goddamn country,
need to
man.
business scams,
listen.
Beat
all
the
types
white
of
man in
scams.
Listen
your
more.
goddamn
No, you
country.
need to
Beat,
listen more.
beat the white
You need
man.
to listen
Beat the
more.
white man in the white.
You're not
Beat the
listening,
white
man.
man in
Yeah,
your
you
goddamn
need to
country,
listen
man.
more.
Take over
You're not
DC.
listening.
Take over the Capitol. Take over the White House,
But
man. I'm done.
but to
I'm done,
answer
man. I'm
but to answer
African.
your
What about the
but
Unilever?
You're
What's
American.
that company Unilever? What happened to that? When I think they were doing business in Africa. What happened to that company?
but you know that you can literally go online right now and type in Black American businesses in Africa, and they'll tell you. Like, for example, the sister who had that loan for women, she got sued by the racist Edward Bloom. She went to Ghana and started her nonprofit, whatever, and she's doing very well in Ghana. And she's a Black American female, you know. But the thing is that
So why do
again,
you think we should invest more into Africa? What makes you think we should invest more into Africa for? Like what is the whole gist of doing that?
well, one, I mean, you're gonna get a workforce because Africa has the youngest population as far as the workforce. Two, depending on what country that you do have tax incentives. Three, also too, you can build your wealth quicker because it's not just y'all coming, it's also corporate companies that's coming. You have ShopRite, you have
And the Chinese.
Costco, you have not just the Chinese too. I'm talking about the American corporations. You got American corporations there because they get a lot of tax incentives, especially like in South Africa. They're doing extremely well. And in fact, there's a I forgot. There's a Black American female who owns a law firm in South Africa, and she's doing extremely well over there. Any other
But
questions?
are those countries fully developed, or are they still developing? Because I'm not moving to no developing nation. I'm just going to keep it real with you. Because if I'm me as an American, is have access to first world stuff, I'm not going to a place where the water shuts off, where the electricity goes off. I'm not doing that. Like,
All right,
so the
so
thing
that
is
means you will have to do your due diligence and figure out which countries. All the
it would have
Africans
to,
are
yeah,
the
it would have
same.
to be more specific. I'm not just going to be like, oh, okay, I'm just going to go to Nigeria and then I see a bunch of corruption go on, or a lot of craziness go on, or whatever the case is. I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to make sure that, like, if I'm going to move to that place, if I actually do that hypothetically, if it actually has the same access to stuff like it does in America, like in terms of the specific country. I don't know why people just say, just go to Africa. I'm like, no, let's do the research. Let's
So
see which
that's
one.
what I'm saying, that you will have to go talk to people, and they will tell you, and then you have to take it on based on your perspective, and you can either do it or you don't have to do it, you know. But you will have to go do your own due diligence. Because I'm not going to sit here and tell you which country you should invest in. I mean, no, I'm not going to tell you that. But I'm saying if you know somebody or you build connections, that's how you can do it. And like I said, there's Black Americans currently living in Africa right now, especially.
But
I
building
know,
connections with people you can trust, not the people that that seems to be a little bit sketchy. It has to
I
build
said,
trust.
that's why I said there's Black Americans that live in Africa, that's doing business in Africa, you can reach out to. I mean, look at what 19 Keys. I mean, he's in Tanzania, and he had opened up his coffee business. He's doing pretty well, right?
So he's in Tanzania.
Yep. Last time I checked. And also, what's the lady named Khalees, right? The singer. She's doing well in I think I don't know if she's in Tanzania or she's in Kenya. She's in one of those countries.
Now, as far as like, I don't know if any of y'all watched the documentary of Henry Louis Gates when he talked about how there was a few Black Americans that went over there to Ghana, and then moments later they decided that they wanted to come back to America. Have y'all ever seen that documentary?
I didn't see that documentary, but you know, there's also successful Black Americans in Ghana also. So, but like I said, doing your due diligence, knowing what you get into. Because what happens, what tends to happen most of the time, people will go, they'll have like a few $1,000s and say, oh, you know, I can live out here, everything's gonna be all great. And then a couple months later, you don't got no money, you come back. I mean, it happens.
I mean, yeah, it's just hit and misses, I guess, in terms of people's experiences. But I just feel like, yeah, it is, doing your due diligence, because you know, there's a lot of people out here that just go all willy nilly with it and don't understand like how everything works over there. You know, they just throw their money over there just for the sake of it. You know,
Right. But if you give me a second, I can name you 10 Black American companies that's in Africa right now that's doing their thing. Real quick, you give me a sec.
Go ahead.
All right, I got the names. Let me see.
I have a question for Mansaki. You said that you're a business consultant.
Mm-hmm. I'll do that on the
Yeah,
side.
yeah, you do that on the side. Now, is it true that immigrants I I hear this mostly with Hispanics rather than African and Caribbeans. Um, are there do they have like a different set of criteria for qualifying for home loans and business loans?
Uh, I'm not too sure with the home loans, but I know for the business loans, if I'm not mistaken, unless you have like collateral, what you could do is like, for example, like if you have something that's like, just say that's like worth 20, 50,000, you can use that as collateral and then get that as a loan for your business.
Okay, now what about because I know the Department of Education recently changed um, their rules for FAFSA. Before, um, undocumented students, their parents could submit paperwork other than like um, W-2s or taxes in order for them to qualify for certain programs. And I don't know what it was, but the Trump administration, they shut it down. So are you familiar with that?
No, I'm not familiar with that. I would have to look into that, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't hear about that one. You have any other questions?
Is it pertaining to like business loans or just any question in general? Oh, did we lose him?
No, I'm here.
Oh, so yeah. So back to the topic about Black American and versus African American. I mean, like I said, those terms can be used interchangeably, I guess, depending on what kind of context you want to use it in. You know, on applications, usually they put that on there. They'll either say Black / African American or Black American / African American. But I think what we need to do is have another category beneath that and say either ADOS or FBA, because we need to make that distinction and not just be cloaked in with everybody else. I think every other Black group should also do the same, where they, you know, they specify exactly where they come from on applications, so that way we won't get mixed up. But that's not to say that we have to be xenophobic, but just to be a little bit more specific, because specificity does not mean that we have to necessarily be xenophobic towards other people. But I think a lot of the times when we have these conversations, people always go straight to, oh, they just don't like Africans, they just don't like Caribbean people. That's not necessarily the case. Now, of course, there are some FBA people that do disparage a bunch of Africans and Caribbean people. That's because they're just trolling and rage baiting. But the ones who are serious about being precise about who we are, they're just really, I think what it is that they're frustrated at the idea that everybody wants to, you know, shoehorn their way into our group, or try to shoehorn their way into being, you know, the same as us, when we know that we're two distinct groups, 2 or 3 different distinct groups. And I think that's really what they're coming from. They're not just saying that, like, they're not just saying it just from a perspective of just wanting to be against other Black people. What they're saying is that, like, they want their own identity. And I feel like for so long, we as Black Americans haven't had our own identity. It always has been under someone else. You know, it's like we've always been just kind of like the people where we are the ones that never get to do our thing, and we always have to be the ones to go to bat for everybody else. And that's the reason why I think we have these groups now, is because we're saying, like, no, we need to have our stuff together. You know, we have to get stuff right in this country first before we ever do anything elsewhere. And it's not to say, oh, we're just trying to be just like white people, because I know that there has been accusations on these panels about, oh, FBA people or even ADOS people in that manner are trying to be just like white people. I don't agree with that. I think what it is that what they're doing is that they're noticing, like, the fact that we're being erased in certain ways out of the conversation in terms of our identities. People want to just kind of attach this whole African thing, and like I said, it's a very complex conversation to have, because just to say we're just African, I mean, that's very broad, and it's very, like, it just flattens us. And I'm like, we're more than that. You know, like, our experiences in Africa, because we're not African. Now, maybe genetically and stuff like that, if you want to have that conversation, but geographically, we're not tied to Africa, and we have to just be okay with that. You know, we're American. That's all we know. And the fact that we are seen just as, you know, African American, I'm like, I don't understand that, because for one, Africa is a continent full of countries, and 2, when I go, like, me, for example, if I go over there to Africa right now, in any of those countries, the first thing they're going to think is American. Especially when I talk, they're going to say, he's American. We're going to treat him as such. They're going to probably even call me some type of white name. You know, I think it's somewhere in Ghana, somewhere they call Americans in general, what they say, Oberoni or something like that.
It's not just Americans also. So you can be Ghanaian living in America and you be called that too. I mean, it's not just American. And on top of that, like, they will not know until you open your mouth. I'll give you a prime example. When I went to South Africa, when I was there for 2 weeks, I was in Cape Town, and the lady saw me. She didn't speak to me in English. She said, Sawubona, wazani, wazani, Sawubona, wazani. She started speaking to me in Zulu, and I told her, I said, I don't speak Zulu. And she's like, oh, okay. And, you know, went to Kenya, the person started speaking to me in Swahili. Went to Puerto Rico, they started speaking to me in Spanish in Costa Rica, you know. Went to a Sudanese store, they started speaking to me in Arabic. Like, they don't know until you open your mouth.
I agree with that. I agree with what you're saying, but I would say the whole thing, even the idea of Pan-Africanism, see, the thing I have a problem with Pan-Africanism is that, like, they always want Black Americans to be a part of it, but yet over there on the continent, they don't even hardly get along. Like, a lot of times they make distinctions about who they are, and they won't even allow certain Africans to be in their particular country. So, for example, I think there was a case of people from Mozambique who try to push out the South Africans in their nation. What type of Pan-Africanism is that? If they're pushing them out of their nation?
I can't speak for Mozambique, but what I can tell you that the 3 countries right now that are practicing Pan-Africanism is Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso. Even the current president right now, Ibrahim Troy, made it clear that they are under the banner of Pan-Africanism. For example, you have a woman named Natalie Ann who got she got sanctions placed on her in Europe. Niger came and gave her a diplomatic passport. You have Kemi Seba, who done this interview on this channel, and it can go back, who got his citizenship revoked in France. And Niger came and gave him a diplomatic passport so they can move freely. In fact, in Burkina Faso, they have a thing called the Black Institute, the Institute for Black People, which was founded by Thomas Sankara. And there's a committee for the Pan-Africanists in that community, and they talk to Troy right now. So they're under the Pan-Africanism. And in fact, if you live on the African continent, if you want to go through those 3 countries, you can go through those 3 countries African free. In fact, I know FBA woman right now who's currently in Burkina Faso who got her permanent residency in Burkina Faso right now. So they are the only 3 countries that I'm aware that's practicing Pan-Africanism. And hold up, man, and let me answer this dude's question in the chat. No, Russia's not pimping the AES. They do legitimate business. They're in the front lines and they're fighting. So I mean, if you want to be technical, when that coup happened in those countries, guess who they went to reach out for weapons? The US, the EU, and guess what? They refused to get weapons. So what did you want them to get weapons from? They had to go get weapons from somewhere else. They went to Turkey, they went to Russia, they also went to China. So you're wrong. They're not doing no bidding with no Russia. And no, Russia does not own all the mineral rights. They own their resources. They are probably the only country right there that actually has ownership of the resources. Can't speak for any other country. But go ahead, brother.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying as far as like, certain Black Americans being able to get citizenship in other African nations. But what I'm saying is that like I don't think that Africa as a whole is completely cohesive, and I feel like the Pan-Africanist movement, I think it comes across as like a religion, and it comes across as just an ideology instead of something that actually moves us forward all the way. I know that people give ADOS and FBA more backlash because it's more precise than Pan-Africanism. But my thing, I mean, like I said, I could be wrong in certain ways, but what I'm saying in terms of how I see it, I feel like it's just like a feel-good religion that people practice to try to make themselves, kind of boost their self-esteem of like, oh yeah, I come from this place and come from that place.
But it's not a good feel-good religion because they're actually doing the work. They're building the roads, they're building the infrastructure. In fact, Burkina Faso has about 15 gold mines. 6 is owned by the state. 3 is owned by a billionaire. Niger just did negotiations with China because what happened was under Bazoum, he gave all the oil to China with 0 ownership. Tiani had to go force him on the table to change the deal, and he ended up getting 45% ownership. Mali right now, anytime you wanted to invest in a gold mine, the Malian government has to get 35% ownership, and they also broke a deal with China with the explosive company, which they own about 51 to 61% ownership, whatever. But those are the type of deals that they're doing.
Yeah, I have a question for you. So as far as like the Black group that you feel like is more Pan-Africanist than the other ones, which one would you say is more Pan-Africanist than all the other Black groups?
Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso.
So those are the top 3 you think are more Pan-Africanist than other Black groups of the diaspora?
No, not that what I think is a fact. It's current. They are they even said it inside the speech that they're under the banner of Pan-Africanism.
But those are only 3 countries. But see, with Africa being 54 countries, how come the majority of Africa is not on the Pan-Africanism tip?
I mean, that's like saying that the whole Europe is under Pan-European, and they're not. You're going to have different groups with different ideologies.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. Pan-Africanism is just only a small group of people that are actually working together, because the thing is, like I said, Africa is not as unified as people like it to be because of the fact that they have different systems and different, problems that they have on the continent. So it's like, it's going to be different depending on where you go and everything like that. So it's like, we can't assume that an African that comes over here is going to be a Pan-Africanist with us or be in solidarity with Black Americans and Caribbean people, because they could come from a place where they don't even practice Pan-Africanism. So my thing is that if we're talking about this whole notion of we should work together and stuff like that, only work with the people that are willing to do that, and just kind of leave the rest behind, I guess, in
I
that
mean,
way. But
that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying,
oh, did we lose him?
huh? No, I'm here.
Oh,
I'm saying that just work with countries that do good business. It shouldn't have to be under the banner of just Pan Africanism or solely. Because, like I said, South Africa, they're not really Pan African, but again, there's Black Americans there that's living there and they're doing pretty well for themselves with their businesses. And in fact, I forgot the lady's name. I think her name was like SBA or something on YouTube. That she bought a house in South Africa in Joburg, and she's doing pretty well for herself.
I mean, that's good. I mean, that's good and all. But in my opinion, I think that we as Black Americans kind of should focus more on like what we need to do here in the United States first, and then kind of focus on that, because the thing is that we're not affected by African politics. We're affected by American politics. And I think that we should kind of focus on like what we should do here to make sure that we get the justice that we need and deserve, based on the fact that, you know, this nation has effed us over for so long. And how it just completely just ignored us. It just ignored us and marginalized us to the point of, you know, feeling like we have to always do everything for everybody else. And I think what we need to start doing is, you know, we can form an allyship or an alliance, but I just think that what we need to do is, you know, kind of focus on specific nations first, and then kind of build up to that. But I would say, you know, people can kind of do whatever they want, you know, otherwise. But, you know, for me, I just think that we as Black Americans can, you know, should kind of like focus solely on what we need to do first here, and see if we can kind of get any type of results. I know a lot of people say that we're not going to get any tangibles. We're not going to get all this type of stuff because we live under a white supremacist regime. And I understand the pessimism in that. But the thing is that they gave reparations to other people. They gave reparations to Native Americans, Jewish people, all these people. And I know people say, oh, because they got a home country. Well, our home country is here in the United States. We cannot ring that bell. We can't sit here and try to act like, you know, we don't have a home country here, or that we don't have ties here. Every time we have this conversation, people always tell us, well, we have to tie it to Africa. We always have to tie it to a whole continent full of countries. I'm like, that's too broad. We have to drill it down more than just saying, okay, let's just connect this to Ghana or connect this to all these other places. I think it was a story or an article one time of this Ghanaian dude that was trying to like shoehorn his way into Black reparations one time, and he was trying to put Africa into it, or Africans into it. And I'm like, no, you can't be in the driver's seat. We as Black Americans have to be in the driver's seat when it comes to the things that we need to get in terms of deliverables. We can't have other people be in the driver's seat for that. Just like we shouldn't be in the driver's seat for issues that are going on in Africa, going on in, you know, it has to be more specific. And I don't understand why people act like we have to somehow just look after everybody else all the time. You know, we have to make sure that we are, you know, doing things in a more precise way. You know, that's just what I'm saying about it. But anybody else want to speak?
No, I just want to add something. I know it's just off topic, but this dude, not Black American issue 5382. Here's the problem, man. You look up stuff on the internet, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. Now, as far as the Israeli ambassador, he came from Ivory Coast. They don't have no embassies, Israel embassies in Burkina Faso. They have to come over there and show their accreditation. And he did not meet Netanyahu. So come on. Stop coming in the comment section. Stop making up stuff. If you don't know something, say you don't know. And no, they're not pimped out by nobody. Like I said, they sovereign, they own their own stuff. But like you said, like I was saying to you, brother, man, just like I said, whatever country that you decide to do business with, man, just make sure you do good business and just do your due diligence and build connections. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, it doesn't have to be under the banner of Pan-Africanism. Like, you know, all I'm saying is, like, you know, if everyone else is getting their money, get your money too, you know.
You know, I'd like to make a comment, and I agree with Drew. You know, the United States, it is Black Americans' home. We have ties here, and we need to fight for all of the rights that we are entitled to as citizens. And so um, so this idea that that we should put our focus on Africa, I think that's a distraction. I'm not saying we shouldn't care about what goes on in the African continent and the Caribbean, but we really do need to focus on um, what we are entitled to here. Now, someone asked a question as to what can we do, and I think part of the problem is we do not have effective civil rights litigators at this present time. I don't know if any of you all saw the press conference of Ben Crump reading the medical report from the Nolan death. It
Yeah,
it was
I saw that.
it was just so embarrassing. He is not a qualified litigator, and where are our Thurgood Marshals? We need to train up a group of litigators who can start bringing lawsuits and who are qualified to argue them in front of the Supreme Court. If you all can think of someone who can do that, but I can't think of any names right now. And that's part of our problem. We don't have competent civil rights litigators at this time.
What was the last part, Maya? What you said?
Yeah, I'm done if you want to comment.
Nah, I didn't hear the last part you said.
Oh, I just said that we do not have competent civil rights litigators at this time, and that's something that we need. Where are our Thurgood Marshals?
Yeah.
Where are they? And as I said before, if I don't know if you all saw the Ben Crump reading the medical autopsy report on Mr. Nolan. Watching him read it was just embarrassing.
Yeah.
He is not qualified. So you can comment on that if you like.
Yeah. I mean, he's about his money, so whatever something happens, he's the first one over there. That's all I gotta say about that one. And so too. Any other questions?
No, I'm done. I think I'm gonna head out. It was good chatting with all you all.
All right, Maya, take care. Anybody else want to add something? Nobody?
I don't know if anybody can think of anything. I mean, are you talking about pertaining to the topic? Because I mean, I know this conversation was about Black American versus African American.
Yeah, it could be a topic,
Unless y'all want to discuss another topic within it, I don't know.
I mean,
So, what are your thoughts on like people who say that they're Aboriginal?
I mean, I'm going to need some proof, man. Like how? Like, because it's like even the word Aboriginal means like half original. Like, it is like I'm gonna need. I mean, like I said, I'm not saying they are because I do know some other folks who are indeed indigenous, whatever, and they got the indigenous ID. So I'm not gonna say that that's not true, but it's not the majority. It's like a small minority that actually got like the actual Native American cards.
Yeah, I noticed that. Now, even when people use the words Aboriginal, Indigenous, especially within pro-black spaces, they always go straight to the Lucia woman, and she wasn't even black. She wasn't even classified as black. And I know a lot of the times people say, "Oh, well, archaeologists have discovered that her she had more African features," but those were inferences. Those were not actual, specific things that could tell if she was, all the way of black or African descent. They said that she was a Amerindian, which is basically Native American, and she of course came from Brazil. And I think she was there for like 12,000 years or something like that. So a lot of the times, the thing about certain FBA people, when they talk about the Aboriginal stuff, they always go straight to that, or they either say that their great grandparents had high cheekbones and straight black hair and things like that. And, and they never they only go off of just phenotyping. They don't ever go in depth in terms of like making sure that they take DNA tests or even the blood quantum test, that certain Native Americans do or have, within their tribal memberships. They think that just because some Native Americans took in some of the black slaves that were there at the time, that means that they're mixed in with the Native Americans. That's not the same thing. No, they may have had tribal memberships depending on the location. That's not the same thing as being American Indian. And some of them might have intermarried. Yeah, you may have been certain instances where they intermarried and stuff like that, but that's not the same thing as like somebody being full Aboriginal or full Indigenous or something like that. Because I hear that conversation so much, especially in FBA circles, where they always are saying like they have more Native than African roots or whatever the case is in terms of the genetics, and then they only be like 2% Native American, and then they think that makes up the majority of their genetics, or makes up the majority of their ethnicity.
Yeah, it's just so funny because I was thinking about this girl who I went to school with, where you say that, and she's like, "Yeah, man, my grandmother had the long hair with the bow, with the cheekbones." And so I was just like, "Oh my god!" Her name was Samantha, so it's like, always think about that. Always makes me laugh. And so everyone was just like, it's like doing it. Everyone was like, "Yeah, you lying? That's some bullshit." Blah blah blah. She's like, "No, it's true. Yeah, the high cheekbone with the long hair with light brown eyes."
I guarantee you, the average Black American have heard that story before about your great grandmother had high cheekbones, silky black hair. Is always that common story, but then a lot of times it's just folklore because they don't know themselves. It's just hearsay.
Right,
I mean, it may be a little bit of truth there, but most of the time it's just a bunch of just hearsay or just a bunch of, just kind of assumptions about it because of the features. But most of the time they are wrong. They're wrong about having that. And then it ends up being African and European when it comes to the DNA results, or just more European than they thought it would be, than the Native American and stuff like that. So they always go straight to like, oh, I got a little bit of this, so that makes me, Native. And I'm like, and also too, when they say that, are they talking about in the context of building the country, or are they talking about the context of like being here way before, thousands of years before they even called this America? Because it's like, to me, I feel like they use Native in a very loose way. They are use Indigenous in a very loose way, especially among FBA people. They don't ever say, like, they never specify the actual year that our people were here, before quote unquote Columbus or before, Europeans settled in. They just say, oh, well, they were here for like centuries. Centuries is not the same thing as being here for millenniums. It's not the same thing, because a Native American who was actually Native American is probably going to debunk all that type of BS that they put out there. A Native American is probably going to tell them that, like, no, their people have been here for like at least 20,000 plus years ago, or have been here for at least over 20,000 years, from the Bering Strait of Asia and stuff like that. But a lot of those hoteps be saying, oh no, the original people were they were black skin. Black skin Indians are not the same thing as Black Americans. Those are two different groups. Black Americans are basically descendants of West African and Central African slaves that were brought over. That's not the same thing as, a dark skinned Native American. Because there are skinned Native Americans that were here, but that's not the same thing as calling them Black or Black American in that way. That you can't tie them to the same lineage as ADOS. That's not the same thing. Another thing they say too is this whole thing about what's another thing they talk about when it comes to this indigenous thing? It's another thing. They say so many things. The Walter Plecker argument. The Walter Plecker argument that they use is very flawed because they think just because Native Americans were reclassified as Negro, that somehow means that Native Americans are attached to us. That's not how it worked. The reason why the Walter Plecker thing happened was because they were trying to protect the integrity of whiteness. It was not because they were trying to say that Native Americans had Negro DNA or anything like that. It was just for them to try to cloak them, to basically protect whiteness on their side, so that way Native Americans wouldn't attach themselves to whiteness in that way. So that's the basis of it. But they like to always use it as a talking point to justify, like, saying that they have some type of attachment to all types of Indians or whatever the case is. And we already know that a lot of Black Americans have been taught that they are told that they have a little bit of a Native DNA, and I think it's rooted in just wanting to be like multi-racial or ethnic or something like that. I think it's because of that. They just want to wear it as like a badge of honor, but they don't. But I guarantee you that the average Black American have never been to a powwow. They've never lived in a teepee. They've never had moccasins. They've never had feathers, unless they just got them from like a costume party, costume party store or something like that, like Party City. They've never went to the ceremonies or anything like that, but they want to somehow claim Native Americans.
Man.
Yeah, it's sad, man, with some of those people that be thinking that way, like,
I mean, you got some of them in the chat saying they don't believe in DNA or blood. That doesn't matter. It should be based on how I feel.
Yeah, they do say, they be like, oh, it's a lie. Oh, it's for entertainment purposes only. I've heard this a lot. They use that same old Dane Calloway talking point. So they'll use Dane Calloway as a reference. They'll use what's that dude's name? Mike TV or something like that. He be talking about how we're not of African descent, or we are not genetically tied to Africa. And he says that, oh well, yeah, the original people were Black. It's a lot of those abo people on YouTube that spew out a lot of those very asinine claims about how our history began in this country. They always say, oh well, we were tied to these people, and and they were not considered African. But like I said, you have to put certain things in context. When we say that we're not African in that way, we're talking about geographically. That's when I say we're not African in that way, I say geographically. I'm not saying genetically, because of course we know genetically we are. And a lot of times they even say that everybody comes from Africa. They use that argument, but just because there were Homo sapiens that existed in Africa first, that's not the same thing as modern migrations, though, because modern migrations is a very different I guess you could say conversation than just everybody originally coming from Africa. Like the time frames are going to be different. So of course, yes, the original man and woman came from Africa, but that's not the same thing as like the modern day migrations that happen and stuff like that. So with our history in America just being roughly 400 or 500 years old, that's not the same thing as like thousands of years of history being outside of America. But that's all. I think what it is that since we only know about America, that's why we feel like when we talk about African roots, we kind of hit a brick wall when it comes to the genealogical records that we can actually discover, because most Black Americans cannot trace that all the way back to Africa unless they take a DNA test, or unless they do some type of thing that consists of science, instead of like just doing pulling up records, because most of the time it's just going to say that they were born here, their ancestors were here. They're not going to say that they came from Africa unless it's in certain anecdotal situations where they can actually say Africa. I mean, that's as close as they can get, because of course they didn't specify the actual nations because I do watch Finding Your Roots by Henry Louis Gates every now and then when it comes on, and I know he does the ancestries of like Black celebrities and other celebrities and stuff like that. And in some cases they did find out that some Black celebrities could trace their roots all the way back to Africa, but that's very few and far between. But most Black Americans is just going to say the United States, or have some type of place that's within the United States. So it's never going to be something where it's just all the way on that other side, you know, of the world. So, you know, that's the thing about, you know, the identity thing is that I know people say that, you know, we have an identity crisis because we don't want to say African, but I just think our identity is very complex. It's kind of hard to kind of pinpoint all the way. That's the reason why I say, like, when it comes to Africa, we have to specify the actual countries that, you know, our people came from prior to, you know, prior to like what we know of it today. So it's so many people that that, you know, just want to kind of put us in this category of just saying just African as if like, you know, we're just, you know, just this generic type of thing. I'm like, no, I mean, Africa itself is not generic. So we have to just be like, okay, which one can we say, you know, we actually are? Because, you know, I haven't taken the African ancestry test yet. I've taken the my heritage DNA test, and it came out to be where the majority of my DNA, I guess, comes from the Nigeria region. I think the Central and West African region, but it was just broad though. It was just too broad for them to kind of specify exactly, but they did say Nigeria. So that's kind of like a little bit more specific than just saying Central and West African. And then I think they said, I think that was about it. But then my European roots, it was like Portuguese and Jewish.
What test is it? Did it give you which tribe in Africa? In Nigeria?
No, they didn't specify that. They just said the name of the countries and then just the regions, but they didn't give the actual like tribes in terms of like where my people may have come from. So I would have to kind of do extensive research and probably do the African ancestry test to see.
Yeah, African, exactly, I know that one goes into depth about which tribes. I know that one particularly.
Yeah, I haven't taken that. Yeah, I know it's about what, $300 or something like that.
Yeah,
so yeah, it's pretty pricey.
Yeah, but you know, like you said, you got some people in the chat that are like, nah, man, DNA test ain't real, man.
Yeah, I think they don't want it to be real because they don't want the truth to come out. In that way, I'm like, no, it's just is what it is. We got to be honest about who we are in that way. You know, we have to peel back the layers and see exactly, you know, where our people come from and stuff like that. And like I said, I wouldn't mind taking that test to kind of, you know, to know exactly where my people came from and to know the tribes and stuff like that. But of course, I'm still going to see myself as American and see myself as most importantly, Black American or ADOS or FBA, however you want to put it, because I know that my lineage is anchored here more than it's anchored there. But I'm still curious to know exactly where my people came from prior to the United States. Just to know, just to be in the know about that, because you know most Black Americans don't know that. You know, so that's why they say things like, "Well, I'm just American. I don't know anything else." You know, so you have to dig very deep to kind of get that type of information to, you know, to actually get, you know, to gain the knowledge of in terms of, you know, your roots and stuff like that. Yeah, it's, you know, it's a long journey. It takes a journey to really get to that point of saying you come from Nigeria or you come from Niger or the Congo or Angola or whatever the case is. But yeah, like see. If I had that type of money,
we got to close out. So let me read these super chats and then we'll close out. Oh man, Knock Measy. Shout out to Knock Measy. Knock Measy, we about to close out, man. It's late. But we'll be back on tomorrow night. You just come back earlier. Blacklight 216. Thank you for $20 holla. I'm in this chat talking smack, and a super chat is there to click. So I clanked. Thanks y'all for letting me chat with y'all anytime. Knock Measy, thank you for the €2. Link please. Hey, Knock. We'll be back on tomorrow. Everyone, thanks so much for joining. Like, share, subscribe. To next time, Family Dynasty Mirror Search for Huru. Peace.